Sheeeit Radio.
That was fucking great, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are an unrefined podcast for the everyman. We go by the name of Sheeeit Radio. Tonight on the show, we, of course, have Liarz and Wasted sitting along, hosting the show with myself, Brasky, and we have a very special guest. He's actually a returning guest. We actually have two guests tonight on the show. We have Mr. Estranged Twat. Mr. Estranged Twat, how are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm just doing wonderful. Thank you.
Well, that's super. Later on the show, we're going to actually have an interview of our dear friend and executive producer and one of the people who helps make all the magic behind the scenes, Frans, and Liarz is going to be doing that, and we're going to talk a little bit about what projects he's been working on, his website, his remasters, and, what his releases are. On top of that, we have a few topics tonight. The topics we have tonight, we're going to put timestamps in below. So for the audience, you guys can just, go right to the topics that interest you. And the ones that don't, well, you don't got to listen to them or watch them. But hey, we want to thank you for subscribing. We want to thank you for watching us on YouTube, Rumble, and all the other platforms that you find us. And we want to deliver the best quality content we can for you. So we actually did a show about 2 weeks ago, and we listened to it back because we all like to be our own editors and our own critics. And we listened to it and we said, gee golly, if I was an audience, would I want to listen to this? And all three of us decided to say, no, this sounds boring. This sounds like every other damn show you'll find. Because there's like 7 million podcasts right now. You go to Best Buy or you go to any electronics store, you're going to find, hey, look, there's a whole podcasting section. So we want to thank you, the listeners, the viewers, who decide to choose to give us a chance. By doing so, it makes us happy. But we also want to deliver the best content. So topics tonight, we're going to talk a little about Taiwan because we got Wasted, who's actually residing in Taiwan. And currently China right now is encircling them with kind of a naval blockade. And this might be the very beginning of World War III there. We're going to talk with Estranged Twat a little bit about comics and, whatever else comes across. So, Wasted, let's start off with you right now. I've been watching the news lately, and on the news and on the old X, the former Twitter, it's pretty much saying there's a naval blockade of a bunch of Chinese ships and planes ordered by Winnie the Pooh to, invade your lovely little country of Taiwan. Can you tell us what's going on, how the people are reacting? What's the general vibe today at 7-Eleven?
Well, it just seems like business as usual, really. I think, generally people here just don't think it's ever going to happen. But, yeah, they did change the wording. They did say that they were testing for the sort of invasion this time. I mean, every day there's normally like 3 or 4 warships and 13, 14 jet fighters in the airspace around Taiwan. But it went up, didn't it, to like 30. So I think what they do is that what China does is that every time there's a talk of independence, like from the Lai Ching-te, he's the new president, he does a speech about independence, that really offends China. So then they make a more sort of symbolic sort of posturing gesture. And that, but for me, because when I see it, I'm probably like everybody in the West, I see the like blockade around, and then I think about Israel and I think about Ukraine, and they just seem to come out of nowhere. Suddenly, people are getting like their ears blown off, in Ukraine. So I don't like rule it out as much as I think the everyday people do, because they've been listening to this for like 20 years. So I get for one day, I'm like shit, and then like today I saw China ends drill. So I don't know. And then you start seeing the US talking heads, they seem to like spin it into this like political it's more about politics than it is actual, because the invasion is actually really hard. But I remember, like, was it a few? It was like a few months ago. Some U.S. general was saying, like, March 2024 they're going to invade. So this kind of move looks like that. So maybe that's what they were picking up on, the movement.
No.
I mean,
Now, Wasted, you said you have a new president there, and he speaks of independence. Does he speak like to independence like President Whitmore did of the United States? Because that man, when he spoke of independence and freedom, I mean, I really got behind him.
yeah, it's more like independence from China, whereas China talks about reunification a lot, whereas they think here that Taiwan has never been part of China. So it's like this. It's kind of like Putin and getting back his territory. So, but this new prime minister, he went to Harvard, so he's really like in with all the kind of U.S. politicians.
What Taiwan needs, in my opinion, is a Braveheart.
You think of William Wallace, where he's screaming for freedom.
Exactly. William Wallace screaming for freedom. They can take our guns and they can take our people, whatever. Let's church it up for the 21st century, and but they'll never take our freedom.
So I was going the President Whitmore route. The great Bill Pullman, portrayed him in Independence Day, where he gets up there, he gives a speech. Today we're gonna celebrate our independence. I was hoping that you got some little Taiwanese bastard up there just telling all the Taiwanese people, listen, we're tired of these Chinese bastards, and we're gonna have our freedom, because they got a lot of fun toys over there. They got a lot of Patriot missiles. They got a lot of fucking F-16s. They're not fucking around, and everything that China makes usually doesn't work. And a lot of the stuff they bought from Russia. And if you're seeing how the Russian-Ukraine war is going, it's a meat wave of soldiers that are they're fighting, trench warfare from fucking World War II and World War I over there. And they've only been able to take 6 miles in like the last fucking 2 years. So, I mean, you look at it, Taiwan can kind of say, I don't know if their shit's going to work over in China. And, how tested is their military? Because the only skirmishes they've had are with fucking India, where, they're at the border over by the fucking Himalayas. And they're not doing too hot. India's been fucking picking those little bastards off left and right.
Yeah, I think the sea invasion by sea is not that easy. It's what I was, and they don't actually have the troops yet. Like the Chinese guy, Xi Jinping, he said to be ready, get the military ready by 2027. So at the moment they don't have enough troops or the weapons, but they're kind of trying to get to that point. But it's all like tied in with like Chinese politics, like like their GDP or whatever is going down. So there's problems back in China, and they're using Taiwan to show strength to their own people, just as Biden like tries to like be tough on China to show that he's a leader. It's kind of
China's GDP is going down,
something like that. Their economy is not doing that great.
Well, they also sold off a bunch of U.S. treasuries. True. Did you guys know that? Like, they had a lot of U.S. debt they owned, and they've been selling that shit off as quick as they can. That's another sign that war might be coming.
Yeah. Yeah, the bonds, like, that's not that good for the U.S. because everybody stopped buying U.S. bonds and U.S. debt. So you've got less money to pay off or service the deficit. So that's one of the signs that the economists are talking about is going to be a big problem, like in keeping inflation down.
E.T., let me ask you, because you lived in Japan for a long time. We all know the Japs hate the Chinese. Like, I mean, they fucking hate these people. They've been fighting them since samurai days, and in World War II, they went over and just fucked them up. Now, when you lived over in Japan, what was the general feeling about China? Because you've only been back in the States now for about 2 years. I mean, did they think China was going to make a move? Did they think China was going to, go around and start trying to take places out like Japan and Taiwan?
Yeah, pretty much. They just don't like them. They just want to, want anything to do with them. And they don't like Korea either one of the Koreas, North or South. As much as Japan doesn't like the others, China and Korea.
They don't like any. They all hate.
Because Japan, the problem with Japan is they never really admitted what they did in World War II. They're just kind of like, you shucks, guys. It was a little misunderstanding. Whatever. Let's not talk about it. And they've never issued any apologies. And every year the prime minister would go to the temple that honors the war dead, and the Koreans would take that personally. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's like anything else, any other dispute between neighbors, right?
Hey, at least Japan's done something good for the world afterwards. I mean, they gave us Toyotas and Hondas and Sonys. I mean, that's a real positive thing.
Did you hear about the depopulation in Japan? Now there's more adult diapers outsell baby diapers in Japan because of the population problem.
It's been that way for over a decade. I mean, and they freak out. Oh God, the population's shrinking. What are we gonna do? And I say
start fucking.
Nothing. If you've ever been on a train at rush hour in Tokyo, there's more than enough people. They need to thin them out a little. I don't understand what the big problem is.
I was going to say, Wasted, and you can go right after me. I was going to say the problem I think they're having right now is that over in Japan, they got all the latest technology. So they got this virtual reality where all like the young men right now are sitting at home doing like hentai porn or watching virtual reality porn and getting it on there instead of just going out and doing some old school fucking. That's my theory. Wasted, I know I interrupted you, so I want to kick back to you, but I'm just thinking that the guys over there now are just so comfortable just sitting at home eating a fucking cup of noodles and doing virtual reality porn or some weird anime shit that they're not out there doing some prime fucking.
Yeah, they've been like that for a long time. They've been like Second Life. They're sort of ahead in terms of living online. But I also realized that like their sort of justice system is also like it has like a 99% conviction rate, so there's no crime. But it also means that you just can't go out and start fucking around, getting drunk, and like chasing girls, yeah. Because anybody says anything like you did this or that, you basically go to prison. So they basically do the opposite.
I mean, you can go out and meet girls without getting arrested.
I know, but I'm just saying. A 99% conviction rate really puts a cramp in my collaging style.
That's a little inflated too, because the thing is they want to keep it that way. So if there's any crime that they know they can't solve or get a conviction, they just ignore it. So they only go for stuff that's an open and shut case.
But what would if you applied that to the US? What would it be like? Everybody would be going to jail.
Well, ET, you got to realize that Wasted's pickup lines are usually him about 6 beers deep and cock in hand when he says hello to a woman. So I mean, it's it's a little offensive. So I mean, it's really against most cultural norms.
I think Japan has changed the same way that America has, where younger men, you just can't go talk to women. They don't want you to. They pre-select everyone on their smartphone. If a stranger comes up to them and says hello, they'll likely run away, or in American women's case, they'll whip out their phone and start, oh my God, look at this creep, he's talking to me. And it's a universal problem now. It's not just, but it is definitely in Japan too.
One thing I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, but I want your guys' opinion on this. One thing because we were talking about the American culture right now, is we have all these protests right now about what's going on over in Israel and Palestine. And listen, it's a very complicated situation. We don't have the answers for it. I doubt anyone does, reality-wise. We pray on all sides that civilians in Israel and Palestine, that they're not being murdered. We're not for that. But one thing that amuses the ever-loving shit out of me, which just makes me warm, it makes me happy, it makes me laugh so fucking hard, is you have all these like woke, like purple mohawk, LGBTQ, as far left as you can go, just protesting for Palestine and chanting from the river to the sea and saying how much they love Hamas. And what makes me laugh about that is knowing that if these people actually went over to Palestine or these countries that like Hamas, or not countries like Hamas, but groups like Hamas and Hezbollah and, places that practice Sharia law, I don't think they realize that they would literally be stoned to death and beheaded. I mean, I really wish we could just grab all these protesters up that are out there just saying these ridiculous things and just be like, you know what, folks, we really think you should go over there and just spend some quality time. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think you'd get like spit roasted, They just like put you on like a spit and roast you. They're just going to torture you to death, aren't they? They're not going to go, you supporting us.
The vast majority of them don't even know what they're protesting about. They just want to be part of something. They think, I'm young, I have purple hair, I have an ugly nose ring. I need to be out there shouting at the man. And that's how it is in 2024. That's the shape it's taken.
For me, it would be Okay, point on a map where Gaza Strip is, point where Israel is, and where Palestine would be. Which river and which sea are they talking about when they chant that? Do they even know?
No, of course they don't.
All very important questions to ask, and I don't think we're going to get an answer to them. So, yeah, go over there. It's important to note too, and this is what I don't understand. I know it was in the news this week that Ireland is the latest country to recognize Palestine as an independent state. I don't know why more countries aren't doing that. So many people are immediately associate Palestine with Hamas, but it's not like that. Hamas is
well, they do cheer. Well, the
yeah.
problem is this. The problem is this, Liarz, that, and I agree with you, the Palestinian people that are just innocent civilians that are kind of being caged in, you know, they shouldn't be getting murdered. They should be able to have freedom, this and that. But the essential problem is, in a two-state solution, that the Arab countries don't want that. The Arab countries that border, you know, be it Egypt, be it Saudi Arabia, be it Syria, be it Lebanon, they're not. They don't want the fucking Gazas. They don't want the Palestinians. They don't want those people coming over their borders. They don't want them to have freedom. They're not trying to help out in this situation. I mean, it could be like a DMZ zone where it's like, all right, here's Israel's land. Israel, you can't be, you know, fucking making new, houses and shit on the Palestinian land. Create like a DMZ like they got in Korea. You guys mind your business over here. You mind your business over here. We'll do a joint effort with the UN, with the Arab states and Israel to, you know, have security guards and everything else. But the Arab states don't want that, you know.
But isn't that what they had though in the Gaza Strip?
Not really. I mean, they had like a little shitty fence. I mean, it was like an American border fence where it's kind of crappy, and they had a bunch of cameras on there. But the Arab states weren't really, you know, doing anything to like. If you look at the Egypt, by the Rafah crossing, or I'm trying to remember the exact name of the crossing, but by Rafah, where the planned Israeli invasion is going to be here soon, and they already started it. Egypt's got a fucking border wall that, I mean, god damn, I wish we had in America. This thing's gigantic. It's like 30 feet tall. It's, you know, all concrete. It's got a border wall, then another border wall after it. You know, I saw a video on Twitter where this guy from Gaza, you know, a Palestinian, jumped over the border wall, and these Egyptians are just beating the shit out of the guy for no reason. It was like a young teenager, too. He's like 15, 16. ET, you were going to say something.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to interject while all this was going on to, just in case my perspective hasn't been heard on this particular subject, and that is, am I the only one that just doesn't care, really? I just don't care. I mean, yeah, I don't want anyone to die.
I think you said that last time, yeah.
But we have so much of our own problems, and why we're getting involved in all this stuff, that, quite frankly, is none of our business. I don't know, it just doesn't affect me. I'm more worried about, I guess, you know, when you get old, you get to be a curmudgeon. You don't care so much about what's going on around the world, and you just think.
I think it does like affect you, but it's like, you know, just all the money that could be building like infrastructure and stuff for the country, or like be in the economy for jobs and stuff, is just not there. It's been sent over to basically just weapons to Israel or Ukraine.
We gave them like $36 billion in the last thing from Congress. $36 billion went over to Israel so they can go bomb the shit out of Gaza. Why? We have our infrastructure's crumbling here. Our school systems are crumbling here. We have homeless people on the streets, but here's $36 billion to a country that already has free college and free medical for their population, and is doing pretty well GDP wise. So why the fuck are we getting involved? In my personal opinion, there's no reason we should be in the Middle East anymore. Our soldiers have sacrificed enough there. We've spilt enough of our blood. And if people go, oh, well, we need to do it for oil. Dude, we have America and Canada. Combined, we have more oil than the Middle fucking East. We have more natural gas than anyone except Russia. We don't need to be over there. We don't need to, here, you know what? You guys don't like us? Great. Listen, you do your own thing. We're going to do ours. We're going to pull all of our shit back. I know we invest a lot of military bases over here, but hell, we invested $3 trillion in Afghanistan to have a 20-year war, lose thousands of Americans' lives. A bunch of civilians got killed. And the only thing we did was we replaced the Taliban with the Taliban. So when it comes down to it, it's a situation of what the fuck are we doing? We don't really need to get involved in this shit when we have our own problems here in our country. And if we can't solve the problem, let's get the fuck out of there. Let's not worry about it. Hey, Israel, Palestine, you guys work your own shit out, and it's not our job to be fucking Team America World Police.
the thing is though that the Israeli donors to the election candidates, they're Jewish and they have all the money and they basically control who wins the presidency. And then there's two things to the oil stuff is, although the oil they think is a limited amount, so it's more like a race to get as much as you can. If you let the rest of the world have their share of the oil, then eventually the US will run out. And then there's also, they need to control the petrodollar.
Oh, that's not true, Wasted.
That is true.
No, it's not true, Wasted. We have more, dude, you have a phone in your hand.
No, the more you have, you have more, you have it now, but it will eventually run out if you don't get
it's going to run out there too.
Do you know what I mean? Eventually. Yeah, but if you give them their share, then they get stronger. You know what I mean? It's like a sort of...
why do we want them stronger?
No, you
They're
don't.
not nice
That's
people,
why you don't want Russia to get all these other countries to get their share of the oil, because then they get stronger militarily and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying
just
that.
to interject something here, Wasted. Sorry to interrupt you. A quick search has proven that if Canada, which we have the third largest reserves in the world, if we were to continue on the annual consumption that we're doing right now, we would have at least 188 years of oil left.
Yeah, but 188 years will eventually it runs out. That's all I'm saying. So the American policy is always to go and use other oil first. But plus, they want everybody to trade. It's almost more important that they trade in the petrodollar. If you don't control them, they'll use other currencies, and then that will ruin the dollar. So they've got this kind of this is their policy. It's not like what it's just a...
No, I get what you're saying, Wasted. But we spend more on our defense budget than the rest of the world combined. So my question to you is this. If we're spending so much on defense already, we have the biggest, most advanced military in the fucking world, can't we kind of already control the fact that, hey, listen, the dollar is going to be the currency. It's going to be the currency that everyone uses because, that's how it is in all Western markets. And we're the biggest economy in the world. So, you pull out of the oil thing, I get that this whole BRICS thing could happen, but in reality, it wouldn't be that great of effect, in my opinion. Now, I'm no genius, except in bird law, of course, but I think it's overrated. I think it's not worth the cost anymore of getting involved in it. Because, look at it this way.
I personally don't think so, because I think that in the short term, the number that Liarz said, was it 100 years or something? You'd be able to last
188 years.
Yeah, to me, it's not worth.
If we're using the same amount and exporting the same amount.
Yeah, to me, it's not worth killing all these defenseless people in Gaza for it. Do you know what I mean? It's not worth all the foreign wars.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's what we're saying, dude.
But I think that their policy or the American empire thinks a different way, because it suits them to think like that. That's all I'm saying. Shouldn't
we be worried about all the I'm not trying to shit. Listen, if you're an immigrant and you went through the system right, and you went through the whole process and you became an American citizen, I really don't care where you're from. Congratulations, welcome to America. You pay your taxes, you do your stuff, you live your peaceful life. Welcome. I don't care what color your skin is, what your religion is, and anything else. But when you have fucking 7 million people crossing over the fucking border now every year that we don't know who the fuck they are, and, you have a lot of gangs. You have a lot of South American gangs from El Salvador, from Honduras. All these problems in Haiti that right now, where Haiti's pretty much a fucking war zone from fucking Mad Max. Guess where all those people are, fleeing to? Here. So we should really invest, I don't know, about, making our homeland more secure, making the border more secure, making it so that Americans and Canadians aren't being massively, we're being massive burdens being put on us right now, where our housing costs are going up, our tax dollars are being spent, and we're suffering greatly from it. Wasted. I know you probably don't see that in Taiwan, but I know Liarz does up in Canada, and I do here. I mean, I know.
100%. You know what I mean? I think they're doing on purpose.
You're in Ohio, and I'm not trying to dox you or anything, but let's just say you're in Ohio. If someone can figure out where you are, congratulations. We don't have that many viewers. If you want to go end ET's life, I'm sure he doesn't really give a flying
common knowledge that I'm from Ohio, yes.
Yeah. So, but look at it this way. How many fucking migrants do you have in Ohio? Which, by the way, Ohio used to be one of the, most American, it's Midwest, it's, apple pie. It's an American state. There wasn't many, foreigners in there like you'd get in LA or New York or Miami. So,
well, if there are migrants, they're being bussed in because we're not anywhere near they're not going to swim across Lake Erie. I forget what
Fucking a bunch of hockey players swimming across Lake Erie. Yeah, we've had enough for Trudeau, eh? That fucking
the thing
guy.
is, I don't go out. I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid of I'm afraid
Should
of
be.
black people. I'm mostly afraid of blacks. There's a lot of black violence. I just don't go out because I'm afraid. Everyone's got guns. Ohio's a concealed carry state, so I don't know. Every time I go to the grocery store, chances are nine out of 10 people have guns. And if you're a responsible gun owner, that doesn't bother me. That's fine. It's the ones that are nuts that worry me. Because again, I'm in shell shock. I was in the safest country in the planet for almost 20 years, where I could walk down the street and people would be afraid of me. I was the most dangerous guy around. I mean, that's crazy because I'm a pussy. And now I come back here and I worry about violence and just random killings. And this migrant thing is ridiculous because not only, I mean, they don't belong here, period. I mean, look, we have rules for a reason, okay? I don't care if you're a bleeding heart liberal. Oh, give everyone a chance. Everyone has a chance. Yeah, whatever. They weren't born here. Boo-hoo. Sorry. The world's not a fair place.
But you notice the places they're sending them. They're not sending them like I live in, the Boston area, which now you can come find me, fuckers. But they're not sending them to Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket. They're not sending them to the rich communities. Like, when they're invading LA, they're not like, listen, we have a migrant problem in Beverly Hills. That's not where they're going.
Not.
They're sending them to the impoverished areas. They're like, hey, listen, where's our low income areas, our minority areas? It's actually hurting the black people and minorities more than anybody.
There's a reason for that. And the reason is that's how somebody in power wants it. I don't know who it is. I don't know who benefits from it, but somebody does, because if somebody wasn't benefiting,
the US is like
greatly,
built on immigration.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Cheap labor. That's why they want to bring them in, and that takes down inflation. But I mean, in the UK, we got bored of that.
Picking lettuce in California, but that's not the rest of the country. Let me tell you.
No, I mean, in the UK, it's like that. You know what they did is they basically any illegal immigrants they sent to Rwanda. That's the plan they came up with.
Well,
but look at the UK. Hold on.
I think we should do that too.
I don't. Yeah, that is a solution.
I want everyone to chime in on this. I want everyone to chime in on this. Wasted, you brought up the UK. Dude, right now in the UK, they keep on electing these Islamic jihadists into their government system where they want to enact Sharia law. Like, all these people are like, oh, yeah, we're progressive, and we're so excited. And, hey, look, I voted for this guy who, is a Muslim. Well, and, like, these people literally are going on, and they're like, their political statements going, oh, yeah, we're going to fucking put some Sharia law in here. They're going to learn real quick. I mean, do they not understand what's going to be coming here?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the jokes that's sort of going around in the UK, I think, is that when they've said they were going to send everybody to Rwanda, they basically put up, like, pictures, like a meme of all the leaders who are basically from not really looking like they're from the UK. They're not English, like Sunak is from, like, India or something, or Pakistan. Yeah. He's the actual prime minister. Khan is not like a white person. So that's kind of like the joke in the UK, is that they're going to send all these politicians who are like, even Boris, I think he's not really a British. Like, he was born in America or something, and he's from Romania.
It's by design. They want it this way. There's no reason we have an unsecure border unless it benefits someone and they want people just coming in. Why in the world can't we have, a machine gun encampment every 100 feet, and just anytime someone gets into the zone, they're not, like North Korea, you'll just get shot in the hamburger if you try to run into North Korea.
You know what?
Why don't we have that on the Mexican border?
In the UK, well, in the UK and on the US border. Remember when they put barbed wire up, and then what they were saying is that the barbed wire is like a health risk to the illegals trying to get into the country. Because what happens is they cut themselves on the fence, and then
so they had to take it down.
Because you couldn't shoot the boats in the UK coming across from France, because that's like a sort of civil liberties problem, yeah? But this is what happens in the UK.
But why?
When you try to stop them, you injure them. Because in the UK you have like human rights, and that's a bit... We've had like terrorists.
Yeah, we all have the right to not be invaded, right? There's rules.
No, not necessarily.
If we don't have a border, we're not a real country.
That's the problem. We don't actually have the right because of our human rights. Like, if we shoot boats of immigrants coming across from France, then all these people go to jail. All the politicians get in trouble for like war crimes.
I think
It's true.
Well,
you'd
I
have
mean-
less boats coming from France. I think
well,
Yeah, but you can't do it though.
you could. I would.
do you think the French would fight? Do you think the French would fight back, or would they just turn their boats
The
around?
French are not helping us, the UK, at all. The French
The
are
French
actually
are
letting
the French.
them
You know what?
leave.
And you know what it all started with France was that fucking Charlie Hebdo, bullshit, where they pissed off the Muslims by printing
Oh,
a
political
picture of the
cartoons.
Prophet Muhammad, where he's not supposed to be in print. Like, you can talk about him, but you're not supposed to show a picture of him, right? So Charlie Hebdo put his face out, and the Muslim community got very upset. And then, of course, that leads to extremists, as all religion does,
Yeah.
whether you're Muslim, Catholic, Jewish. It's all leads to extremism one way or another. There's lots of them out there, and then there's so many terrorist attacks that have happened in France because of this. And if you want a cool documentary to watch on it, the Eagles of Death Metals, or the pigeons of shit metal, however you want to refer to them, they had a documentary out because at one of their shows they had an active shooter, and he was.
Yeah, it was in France.
We won't get into
I think in the UK
he was
it
on
was
the religious
Ariana
side.
Grande, wasn't it?
Movie
Ariana
was
Ariana
Grande.
Grande
by
had one too, but I don't
Tom
think it was in
Hanks'
France.
son.
Was it in France?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
probably.
yeah, but I forget what this documentary is called, but it's about that show that got shot up, and they got interviews with Josh Homme and all the guys, and it's really well done, and there's some really haunting parts in it because they're artists, right? So they go into very detailed descriptions, and it just paints this picture in your head of just sheer terror. I
Yeah,
highly
this is-
recommend the documentary.
Like they say in the US, they know that over the border, the southern border, 17 known terrorists have entered, and that's only the ones that they actually know of. So they don't really know who's coming in, and like they're always talking about like the age of the people coming into the UK it isn't really women and children. It's like military age men. They're always like 26. You know what I mean? They don't look like
Right.
they've been basically sent from Albania because they're the family's last hope. But all they
Right.
do is they join gangs, sex trafficking gangs or drug gangs in the UK because there's no way to like they can't speak English, they don't have any skills, so they can't really be employed other than illegally, like cash in hand in a restaurant. So they're not really going to make enough money. So that is just like, and there's nowhere for them to live. Like even British people can't find jobs or a place to live. And then there's even more people coming, and they just keep coming and coming, which I think is the same
Bro.
as the US, right?
Look at it this way. The other day, my pop had to go up to the hospital for a medical procedure, which was, another thing. So I'm driving back with my wife after going to visit my father, and there's a lady on the street, and she's, we get to the stoplight, we're waiting to take the turn to head down there, and she's got a sign that says, I can't afford diapers, I can't afford rent, please help. And, I don't want to sound like a bitch here or a pussy or a bleeding heart, but like if I see someone in like true need, right now I'm struggling. Right now in America, I'm really struggling just to be able to, to pay my bills and keep things going. But if I had an extra $1, $2, whatever, I usually would give to someone if I really thought they were in need. But I look at this lady, she doesn't speak English. She goes, money, please, money, money. And I didn't have any, extra spare cash on me. But then I look at her, she's got a brand new backpack. Her sign's completely, brand new, nicely written. And I look on her back, dude, she's got like a fucking $50 to $100 camel pack. One of those things that you can get water out of the back. I'm like, she's probably got herself a luxury car or something over here. I mean, it's all scams, dude. It's all panhandling. Right now in New York City, because of the migrants, dude, the theft problem between the organized crime rings that you got from the gangs and the migrants right now, all these stores are shutting down in New York City. Everything's locked behind a case. Everything's being overwhelmed. All the local community, centers and all the local community, food banks that are usually meant to help low-income families, which majority of time are minorities, they're all like, hey, sorry guys, we can't help you because a bunch of fucking people came over here that don't want to adjust to American culture, that don't want to be part of the system, that just want free handouts. They're getting paid $2,000 a month in debit cards in New York City right now. Plus, they're getting put up in hotels that are costing $400 to $500 a fucking night. But hey, the people here, hey, you're working at Burger King and you're struggling to make a thing. You got 2 kids and you're barely getting by. Hey, you know what? Fuck you. That's what the government's telling American citizens right now, and that sucks.
Who pays for that, Brasky?
It sucks.
Who pays for all that?
Taxpayers, the people that get up and go to work every day.
So,
Your teachers, your guys who do your
I
road
don't know
work.
how it works in the United States, but we have three levels of taxation here. We have the municipal level, the provincial level, and the national level, the federal levels. What do you have? Like, would it be? So, what I'm asking, my question that I'm asking is it the people of New York City that are paying for it, or is it Americans on a federal level paying for it?
It's a combination of both. What happens is it comes out of the federal government will supply some funds, but a lot of it's actually coming from the state itself. So out of your paycheck, you get your federal taxes taken out, you get your state income taxes taken out. In most states, there's some states like Florida and Tennessee that don't have an income tax, but majority of states do have an income tax. Then you get your Social Security taken out. And I think there's one more thing that I'm forgetting. You're like, there's one more tax that gets taken out. There's like 3 to 4 taxes. No, your sales tax, but no, there's another tax that gets taken. So right now, federal tax is about 20%, and your state income tax is about 5%. So I would say out of your paycheck, you're usually losing about 25% off the top of your paycheck before you pay for anything like health insurance or anything like that. Or no, health insurance comes up before tax. So your health insurance comes up before tax, but then your taxes come out. So 25% gets taken off right off the top. Now, if you're a higher income bracket, let's say you're making over, I think in the United States, it's somewhere, I could be wrong on this. So I apologize to the audience. I'm not trying to mislead you at all or give you fake news. And I probably am wrong, but I think it's around 75,000 or 80 grand, which is kind of right at where middle class is right now, which is crazy because most people aren't making that. Your tax bracket goes up. Like the highest tax bracket right now is like once you get over 100,000, 150,000, it's like 40% of your fucking income goes to your taxes. But the funniest thing is corporations, they don't pay shit. Like right now, but one of the good things, and I'm gonna hold on. I want our left wing liberals to know too. I'm not here shitting on you guys because one of the good things that Biden's actually doing is he wants to raise up the corporate tax rate, which is a great idea. I mean, if that's one good thing that Biden's doing, I want to applaud him for it because that needs to happen. Right now, it's like I want to say the corporate tax rate's really low. Can someone look that up, Liarz? Can you look that up, or one of you guys look that up?
People like
the
Amazon
corporate tax
don't
rate.
pay. Right? Amazon don't really pay it.
Yeah, they write everything off, dude. I remember one year I paid more than General Electric did in taxes. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's how crazy it is that Amazon doesn't pay shit for taxes. Jeff Bezos, because what they do is they don't show, like, they have a bunch of write-offs, and what they'll show is their income. They don't have to show, like, hey, they don't what their actual net worth is. They don't get charged on that. It's like, oh yeah, so all the investments I made this year, they profited, a couple $1 billion to what my net worth is, but because I didn't cash them out, I didn't pay any taxes on it. So they're paying nothing in tax.
They're also like borrowing a lot to service all the debt. So they always think that because they're doing that they always think that they can put up taxes on people. But I don't know if this applies in the US, but in the UK, like say teachers or nurses, they don't really like that. Their pay packet is kind of like they're getting paid from the state, so they don't really pay tax. I mean, they do pay tax on their income, but their paycheck is actually basically coming out of everybody else's taxes.
So
yeah, that's how it works.
In 2021, guys, President Biden proposed that Congress raise the corporate tax rate from the current 21% to 28%.
He went higher lately. I want to say it was lately. He's like up to like 39%. But yeah.
But I don't think taxing these billionaires is enough to service the debt. That's the problem. It sounds good, and you're like getting the man or whatever. But when they add up the numbers, it's just like a drop in the ocean. It's not really going to solve the problem. The problem is like the government spending, and then you just look at they spend so much money on the military. That is so obvious that what they're doing, all the money goes to big pharma and to the military, and that's where all the spending goes. So you're just wasting tons of money. So it's a really obvious solution, but they keep going because they're basically laundering the money. All the rich people are making weapons, all the rich people are making like pharmaceuticals. So they want the money to go into that. So it just keeps on going.
So in order to not pay taxes, though, in order for corporations to not pay taxes, one of the things that they do are charitable donations, right? So they are putting that money back in, or At least on paper, they're doing it. Whether or not they're siphoning it and putting it in their pockets, who knows?
At some point in the UK, they were saying, like, this was during, what's it called, the pandemic. At one point, people were saying, we're just not going to pay our taxes. Would that
but hold on.
Would that help you if you didn't pay your personal taxes? Because the government can just borrow more.
You go to jail.
Right? They borrow. No, but
you go to jail.
If you don't, but I'm saying if they made it so that they change the rules so nobody pays taxes, right? So that, but because they have the money, but they could give you free healthcare, but they use the money for something else, basically the military or
but hold
pharma.
on, I wanted
They could cover your taxes, but they don't want to.
I wanted to correct something. Liarz was right. It's only 28%. I thought it was higher. I thought we were going to go back to how it was in the 60s, where it was like 48%, 40%. You know, but no, Liarz, you're right. It's only 28%. That's what Biden wants. That's fucking nothing. But you guys were asking about how the
Canada, we have a basic tax rate of 38%. That's corporate tax rate, 38%. And then there's a bunch of amendments to it that comes in after. But is it though? Because we are an export company and always have been an export company. But businesses are leaving Canada because of our high tax rates, and that includes the federal corporate tax rate. Now, on that 38%, there's like amendments and stuff, and that could be had, and some deductions that you can make on it. So it brings it down. But I mean, a 38% tax on corporations that's quite high.
Does that affect wages?
You got to find a way to pay things. And you guys were asking earlier how they do these write-offs. Like, you know, you said that, oh yeah, it's for, they do it for charitable donations. But no, a lot of things they have is like loopholes. Like, oh yeah, so what we did is we got this write-off because we transferred everything. All our light bulbs are now LED efficient, and we threw a fucking couple solar panels up on top of the roofs of our buildings. And hey, we bought a bunch of EV vehicles that we can write off. That's how they're getting around it. It's not like they're actually like, oh hey, let's go donate to St. Jude's, or let's go donate to the local food pantry. They're just doing it in a way that and they're buying like their own products. It's like, for example, Amazon would be like, oh yeah, so we just changed our whole fleet of vans over to electric. But mind you, it'd be someone that they're either a partnership group with or a subsidiary that they did the business with. So it's moving. It's a 3-card Monte. It's the old 3 cups and a ball trick where they keep moving the money around, but the money's never really going anywhere, but they just don't want to pay taxes on it. It's fucking ridiculous. And in like a place like Ireland, you see a lot of big companies like Apple has moved over there because they have the lowest taxation rate out of any country in the world, but yet they're still able to sell their products over here and import everything over there. But like, oh no, we're based out of here, so we're not going to pay you. It's fucking ridiculous. What do you think, ET?
I think you guys are all just pissing in the wind.
Ireland's corporate tax rate is 12.5%, by the way. 12.5%.
Yeah, money isn't real. It's imaginary. Getting upset about it and trying to hold anyone in power accountable for it is just nothing. It's just numbers on a page to them. They don't care. Oh, I'm in debt. Ooh, here, I'll give myself another $3 billion. That ought to do. Yeah,
but if it doesn't matter, why do they want it all? And if they're going to have wars, why doesn't like Hunter Biden get sent to the Ukraine to fight?
Because he's royalty. Why do you think?
Because he do all Zelensky's cocaine and probably, give herpes to all the hookers over there. So, they don't want him over there. Again, because he's already been over there, They already got paid off once. But the money machine goes bird. But you say that the money doesn't matter and we're pissing in the wind. But ET, like, you go to McDonald's now, they get a fucking Big Mac meal. It's $13. All right? Money matters. When you go to the gas station now, it's like, I need to take out a loan.
Look, we're power.
If you've got a family, it does matter.
Everyone's apathetic to the point where nobody, the people, what's left of the middle class, they can't risk losing what they've got. So they're not going to rock the boat. And then, everyone else, is just a drug addict or homeless or whatever. We're nothing. We're the slave class. It's over. It's over. That dystopian future we were worried about, it happened already. We're in it. There's no changing it.
One thing that scared the shit out of them lately, and we're going to kind of move a little bit from this topic, was this week, Trump right now, if you like him, you hate him. Hey, that's your own political belief. But the man's fucking entertaining as hell. And the trial they have on him is ridiculous. The whole Stormy Daniels thing was hilarious where, she was talking about how he liked to be spanked and talking about him not wearing a condom and him having silk pajamas on. I thought that was great. Wasted, what did you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, all the details of Trump is always funny. Like, the last thing I saw is that he's, he was talking about Hannibal Lecter and the silence of the lambs, and saying, I think he's hoping that all the immigrants are basically like highly intelligent immigrants like Hannibal Lecter. They may be like serial killers, but he wants them to be the smart serial killers like Hannibal Lecter. So he was talking about the silence of the lambs.
Trump right now is going around the country, and he's starting to get a lot of support from a lot of Democratic voters, because people in the inner cities, people in rural America, they're really getting tired of this shit. Like New York City's always been a Democrat city. It's always been that way, except when Rudy Giuliani was mayor because he was a Republican. But with that rare exception, it's always been in a really strong Democrat stronghold. And Trump went to New York City this week. I think it was in the Bronx. And he held a rally. And actually, we have one of our dear friends from the Fatcast that actually attended one of those rallies. And I'm gonna see if I can get him in on this, get him in on the show here. Let me try to call him in here. But he actually attended this rally. So you guys speak for a second. Liarz, do you know anything about this rally, where it was located? Can you look that up real quick? And Wasted, did you hear anything about it, or ET?
I think it's
I'm gonna try to get our guy.
I heard about it. The only thing I heard about it was that, a lot of people didn't show up. Apparently, that's what I heard. So I don't know.
No, you heard wrong. It was in the Bronx, and it was huge. It was a huge success. There was tens of thousands of people.
Tremendous number of people. Huge. Yeah. I think if Trump went to jail, do you think he'd have like gold bars on his cage?
Yeah, he won't go to jail.
They're talking about him going to Rikers Island. Is that real? Isn't Rikers Island like a sort of
Rikers Island is where they send everyone to jail from New York. But he won't go there. No, he won't go.
Boys, I need to interrupt for a second here. I think straight from Rikers Island, we have a guest coming in tonight. Are you there, Willie?
Howdy, my devils. I'm back. And hey, I've never been to Rikers Island, you son of a bitch. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I don't know what you're talking about. I'll tell you one thing right now, though. Hard times for Mr. Willie. I'll tell you, Best Buy, they got rid of us Greek Scar guys. So Mr. Willie right now, man, I'll tell you what, I've been hustling down on Wall Street, being a day trader, getting on all this GameStop shit. Man, I've been shorting that stock like a motherfucker. But I'll tell you,
GameStop's still
they
going on.
got me again. Well, actually, earlier this week, I went down to the Bronx, and I went to go to the Trump rally. And the reason I went to the Trump rally is because Willie's tired of this shit. Willie's tired of working 70 hours a week, driving his old-ass Honda Civic, living the hard life. Willie's got mouths to feed. Willie's got shit to do. So I went to the Trump rally, and I got to tell you something right now. For a white-orange devil, man, that motherfucker's funny. So I was there. There was thousands of people. I don't care what you say. I didn't see AOC out there in her fine ass, which, hey, AOC, if you're listening to this, Willie loves you, man. Willie will treat you white. Get away from that stupid white honky.
You're a married man, aren't you, Willie?
Hey, well, the wife don't got to know what me and AOC are doing. The wife understand. Willie just trying to improve our future. Don't be hating on Willie. Don't be hating.
I could never hate on Willie.
But like I was saying, I was at the Trump rally, and I'll tell you what, right now, boys, it was great. It was entertaining. That they had a bunch of guys from a podcast that Willie listens to. They introduced the Donald. The Donald came up, and you know what he said? He said, "I'm here for you. I'm here for you and your people." And I said, "Hey, that's great, man. You gonna get Willie's job back at Best Buy?" And he said, "No, Best Buy's fucked." And I said, "Oh, all right, I understand, Donald. Willie, just go back to day trading. I'm trying to do the Wolf of Wall Street kind of shit. But I'll tell you right now, man, I'm voting for Trump because Biden done fucked me. He done fucked me a bunch."
Now, how many people were at this rally? Because we were just talking, and up in Canada, they were reporting it as an epic failure, But I assume it's very different. It was very different there. How many people would you say were there?
Oh shit, man! I'd say a couple thousand, man. We were packed deep. Bunch of smelly motherfuckers too. But I'll tell you, It was good times. Willie smoked a blunt. Willie had a little bit of drink. It was good times.
Willie, have you ever been to a Diddy party?
No, but that motherfucker better stay away from me. I heard what he did to the. I heard that he butt fucked the guy from Family Matters, the guy from Die Hard, Al Powell. Did you know that? He fucked Carl Winslow in the ass.
Yeah, he paid Kim Kardashian $50 million to peg him as well. That's another.
Is that another rumor going around?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but Kim
beautiful.
Kardashian's just a used up hoe, man. I mean, shit,
Diddy
that
wants to
shit's like.
party, and you got to tell him no.
Listen, Kim Kardashian has more fucking traffic than the Holland Tunnel. All right, Kim Kardashian pussy, man, that thing's fucking. You could send an expedition team down there. All right, that's like a deep sea oil rig. All right, that shit goes deep. And then, nah, man, fuck Kim Kardashian, fuck that bitch. She fake as shit.
You think she'll vote Trump?
Nah, that bitch will do whatever Hollywood tells her to do, man. She's just
Yeah.
about doing what the elites want. She's a pagan. She don't love Jesus. She don't got Jesus in her heart. She's a devil worshiper.
As many of them are in Hollywood.
She's all praying to Moloch. She's like, dear Moloch, please make my ass bigger and my fake titties better because I'm starting to sag. Used up bitch.
Now you were saying you were a former Joe Biden voter.
Yeah, I vote
What
for
changed?
Biden in 2020, man. Willie's a common man. Willie's a working. I've been voting Democrat my whole life.
I don't understand how you can just go from a Democrat to a Republican just like that.
Yeah, well, look what's happened in my fucking town, dude. You been in New Jersey lately? I mean, Cory Booker done fucked us, but then, when Joe Biden comes in, boy, it was more than fucking. It's like, hey, look at your new El Salvadorian neighbor who's sleeping on your front porch.
Interesting.
No, it's not interesting. That motherfucker got no job, don't speak shit. But no, he got more money than Mr. Willie got.
What about immigration? What do you think about immigration, Willie?
All them fuckers can go back where the fuck they came from. Fuck them.
How long have you been in the country, Willie? Were you born in America?
What the fuck you talking about, honky? I was born American. I'm more American than you.
Well, I'm not American. I'm Canadian.
See, I told you I'm more American than you. Willie's a proud American. Willie's a working man. Man, I've been working my ass off for 50 years. Fuck you, man. Willie's American as his apple motherfucking pie. Willie's American as Coca-Cola and a hot dog.
Simple misunderstanding, Willie. I thought you moved here as a child.
From where, you white devil?
I have no idea. That's why I asked you. Canada?
Bullshit. I sound Canadian to you? I don't want to go play hockey.
I'm watching a hockey game right now, Willie. As we speak, I'm watching a hockey game right now.
What a surprise. A bunch of figure skaters with sticks.
What are you doing for work now that you don't have the job at Best Buy?
I just told you I'm day trading, man. Willie's been working.
Well,
penny stocks, man.
That's all you're doing is day. I thought you were doing that as a side hustle on the side. As a hobby.
I wasn't until Best Buy said, hey, listen, Geek Squad, Willie was the head Geek Squad service representative. You came in there, would have fixed all your shit, but then they laid Willie off.
Damn it.
They said, no, Mr. Willie, we don't have enough people anymore coming into our store because we're stupid dumb fucks. So Mr. Willie got laid off, and Mr. Willie now fucking working on doing some day trading. Now listen, the smartest way to do day trading, if you want to know, is you just follow what Nancy Pelosi does. You'll make a lot of money doing that. Oh yeah.
You remember that guy who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband? He got 30 years. You remember that guy who broke into their house?
No.
And he attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer.
Yeah, the guy who had a hammer and they were in their underwear together.
DePape or whatever. He got 30 years. Yeah, DePape. He got 30 years for that. It's just breaking and entering and threatening. I guess it's assault or attempted murder or something. But he got 30 years.
Well, I think he did whack him a good one on the head, so that'll do it.
Yeah.
It's sent to Rikers Island. And just speaking of Rikers Island, thanks for being here, Willie, tonight. It was a pleasure having you. And you take care of yourself. Keep us updated on any Trump rallies you do go to. I'd love to hear about them. Good night, Willie.
Well, good night to you. Good night to all the viewers and listeners. And God bless America. We'll get through this, everybody. Hard times make good people. And that's what we are. We're good people. We're good Americans. Willie loves all of you. Good night.
Good night, Willie. That was fun. I always like when Willie comes on. Oh, so sorry, I completely interrupted you and ET. I'm sorry, Wasted, but it was time for Willie to go. What were you guys? Let's get back to what you were talking about.
It was just Nancy Pelosi's husband getting attacked with a hammer, something like that, and he got like 30 years. I think he was like trans or something, or a pedophile. So he was like doing bad stuff to his kids and stuff. So it's not bad. It's not. I was shocked by 30 years. That's what like.
I mean,
I don't know if he had
it's
kids.
appropriate. I mean, he broke into
It
somebody's
is
house
interesting,
and with a
though,
hammer.
Any leftist is a 50-50 chance they're trans or a pedophile. That's interesting.
Yeah,
All right, guys,
I think he
I'm back
was.
now.
Hey, you missed Willie.
Yeah, well, it's because we can't host that many people on the damn call because when we do that, it just doesn't work.
It's so weird how you and Willie have never been seen in the same room at the same time.
Yeah, we have. Dude, listen to past Fatcast episodes. It's been sometimes just me, Willie, and Liarz.
That's right. It has been. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you haven't been seen. It's like Big
I also
Bird's
have been seen
imaginary
with you,
friend.
Wasted, or Liarz in the same
Snuffleupagus.
place at the same time.
Well, you guys might
Yeah,
not have seen us in the same place at the same time, but me and Wasted have we've tore around Asia together. It was pretty sick.
Thailand. Get a foot massage in Thailand. Do you miss any of the perks of living in Japan?
Oh yeah,
Or
I
did
miss
you-
it every day. I have dreams
Like,
about it. I'm miserable.
What's it called?
I'm miserable.
They have like real ramen there. I mean, I guess they do in the US too.
No,
I was
they
just
don't
trying to
have ramen.
Yeah.
Ramen. Yeah, I don't get real ramen like Japan.
I was going to ask you any update on Gallo in Japan? Your lover?
Oh, your lady friend.
No, it's just kind of treading water. As far as I know, she's still married. So, just hope she keeps her health up and stays in good condition so that I can retire there someday.
So there's been no update. There's been no communication since we last talked about it. This was
Oh no,
6 weeks ago.
I communicate with her, but nothing new has happened. You got
what's going on?
You got to keep, you got to dangle some food on a hook every now and then. You got to keep her interested.
Have you told her that? You maybe
Angle
told
some-
out a false flag, like, hey, listen, there's a bunch of these beautiful women in Ohio right now, and my heart belongs to you, but I'm telling you, I'm getting tempted, honey. I'm getting tempted. Have you been saying that to her?
No, I don't think she would like that. That's not the approach to take with her. And I'm not a good liar. I'm really, people can see right through me. There's no beautiful women in Ohio. No one's gonna buy that.
Do you FaceTime her?
I try not to because I don't want her to do it all the time. But she has my contact info. So
I was wondering if it would be a strict telephone call or a FaceTime with possible masturbation.
Joint masturbation.
Yeah, exactly.
oh yeah, the latter for sure. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to rub it out.
Does she encourage you when you do it? She's like, "Oh, ET son, yeah, that good. You so fast, slow. ET son, oh yes."
Yes, it's funny because she knows I like having a Japanese woman act like the Vietnamese whore in Full Metal Jacket. That's what gets me off. So she says, "Oh, I'm so horny." Yeah.
Does she yell, "It's too buku"?
Yeah. She tries to make me feel better by lying and saying it is, but I know the truth. No, she was. I don't know. I feel bad. I don't know what kind of stories I've told about her in the past, particularly when I recorded on drugs.
Oh, they were epic. They were great. I mean, you've accurately described every crevice of her body and all her sexual kinks and fetishes.
She was the first Japanese chick I was with that really played up all the noises from the porn, because most of the chicks, they're not like that in real life. They're just kind of like whatever. But this one, she's like, "Oh no!" It's like she's screaming and stuff.
That's
Beautiful.
great. I hope the neighbors loved it. Now, I missed the part where you guys were talking. About Puff Daddy. Wasted. What the hell's going on there? We covered this kind of on our last episode where Puff Daddy was being exposed to stuff. I was listening on, and I heard Willie mention that freaking the guy from Family Matters got butt fucked by Puff Daddy, and there's been a bunch of other things. The video came out where Puff Daddy literally is beating the shit out of his girlfriend at the time, or wife Cassie. I mean, it was brutal, man. He beat her down fucking viciously.
Yeah, I saw some video where they were debunking the severity of the beating. Like he's wearing socks, he's wearing these pink socks, and he's wearing a towel, and he's holding his towel up. And they were saying that he doesn't really hit her on the first time; he just pushes her down, and then she's just lying there, and she's faking. And when he kicks her, he doesn't actually kick her; he misses. But he does technically, he does drag her, and then he does throw something at her in the room, doesn't he? So it's not good. But the apology video was like really fake as well. His apology video was just him talking about hitting rock bottom. And,
Liarz, did you see this video?
I saw a video of, it was like some grainy footage of what appeared to be Diddy just wailing on a girl. Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's kicking her in the chest, pulling her by her hair, throwing her to the ground. I mean, I don't know how you defend that. If someone goes, "Oh, well, he was wearing socks,"
I'm not defending it.
Oh, okay. Was saying that some people were defending it.
Yeah, no, they were saying that the kick missed, and then she was playing like dead, kind of thing. Yeah, I think she was just scared probably, but maybe the kick didn't connect, and it wasn't a clean punch. She kind of grabbed, hit her, kind of thing. But she's probably just scared or lying on the floor. Yeah. But they were probably just joking about that, you know.
Oh, I don't know if they were joking, but she's definitely terrified. That's just a natural response by someone that's.
He also completely denied it. He denied any abuse of anybody. But so now he's like kind of backtracking and saying. Is
that where that weird looking picture of him came from? You know that picture that was floating around? His eyes are really close together, and he's got that scrunched up face and the weird bulbous head.
No, that's just how he always looks.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's so many pictures.
That was my question. That was going to be my question. Is that like, because I don't really know him without sunglasses. He's always wearing sunglasses or some kind of glasses. Is that what he fucking, and a hat too? So is that what he really looks like? That picture wasn't doctored?
Yeah, he kind of looks more and more like he has like resting pedo face, a bit like Epstein. Whenever when they look at these pedophiles, they always have like big lips and like puffy faces. They always have a certain look to them. One picture I saw that was funny, like, what do you say that guy is called? Carl Winslow. There's a picture of Carl Winslow and Puffy, and they're both wearing like matching pink cardigans together. But when they said Carl Winslow, I thought they meant Michael Winslow. Is Michael Winslow the guy that does all those weird noises on Police Academy? So I was like, I was like, what was the sort of noises he was making in that video with Puffy? Like,
he was my favorite part of Spaceballs.
Yeah. Shit. Didn't he make all those beeping noises?
Yes. I've lost the beeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
He's the man of 10,000 sound effects. That's what he's known as. That's his nickname. Fuck, he's funny.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Do you think he was better in Spaceballs? I know your take on this, Wasted. Sorry, ET, because you just said it. But like Wasted and Brasky, do you think he's better in Spaceballs or Police Academy?
I remember him from Police Academy because we used to like copy him at school. You know what I mean?
Brasky?
At breaks time.
Yeah,
dude. Police Academy. Sure. There's no doubt. He stole Police Academy. He was like, he was the Steve Gutenberg is the most likable person in Police Academy instead of Tackleberry, which Tackleberry is always my favorite in Police Academy, number one. Nice one. And Hightower is great, but I'm telling you right now, Jonesy from Police Academy. I mean, who didn't love Jonesy? Jonesy was the man. I mean, he made every Police Academy just fucking hilarious with his voices and his, random sound effects. I mean, Michael Winslow is a comedic genius and just awesome guy. I'm still just horrified now because every year I watch Die Hard for Christmas because it's a great Christmas movie. And now I'm going to see, Sergeant Al Powell, and I'm going to be like, oh my God, Puff Daddy, fuck that guy. I always looked at, I believe his real name is Reginald Johnson, and I always had such great love in my heart for him because, I grew up with Family Matters. I grew up with TGIF, and, he was the ultimate dad. Like, Family Matters is a great show. It's a great family show, and Carl Winslow, everyone loved Carl Winslow. It was him and Urkel. And, now just picturing that, Puff Daddy did those horrible things to him. I mean, good Lord, that's just, it just bothers me. It just really disturbs me on a level that I can't really accurately describe. And, audience, please leave your comments below about what you guys think. Like, are you going to be able to watch Die Hard? Are you going to be able to watch, Family Matters or now? And, you at the same Kardashian,
way. I saw a picture of, Kim Kardashian straddling Puffy, and then the headline and the story inside the video is about him paying her $50 million to peg him. That's the last story I looked at, and that's kind of where I decided like I'm not going to look at this anymore because all the story, you know, there was like it was like Bieber, Usher, Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Puff Daddy in the room. Like, is that, you know, in some kind of freak off? Is that real? It's getting ridiculous. They like.
How did they get $50 million to pay them? I want you
Well,
to pay
it's
me.
all coming
Not
out.
for $50 million. Okay, I'll give you $50 million. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
yeah, if you see Puffy's
Amazing.
videos, when Puffy's like hanging around and he's talking, he's just like, yeah, daddy, I'll give you 50 million to do this. I'll give you 50 million to do that. You know, I don't know. But when are they ever going to prove it? I think they're just, I mean, the assault video, I think is like, they're basically, they're probably in negotiations with him and they're like probably leaking these videos to get, you know, to see what he will like agree to. Like, if you don't agree to this, we're gonna leak the video or something.
Well,
I don't
dude,
know.
they raided his house now like 3 months ago, like Homeland Security and the FBI, and they took all these computers and hard drives out. I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell's
They've
taking
got-
them so long?
Well, they've got to go through every
Yeah.
tape and looking for, and if there's sex trafficking involved, there's different departments, and then each video, there's like three or four different departments or something that have to look at it, and they want a watertight case. But really, the Cassie video. But the thing is, the hotel, Puffy paid the hotel for that security tape of him assaulting Cassie in the hotel. So actually, everybody in that hotel kind of knew that Puffy paid them off the $50K. So there's so many people implicated that where do you draw the line? Like, is Obama and Beyonce in a freak off?
Liarz,
how
let me
far
ask
does
you a
it-
question. Imagine being the poor bastard that, like Homeland Security, the FBI, that, you know, you got to get up, you got to go to work, and you know that your whole day is going to be spent having to watch fucking all these videos and everything that's on the hard drives collected from the Puff Daddy houses. I mean, imagine knowing the horror and the horrific shit you're going to have to watch all day long. Like, you know, you get up, you get your morning coffee, and you head into work, and you know what your day is going to be. Like, there's nothing about your day that's going to be pleasant. There's nothing about your day that's going to be,
But it
you
was
know, like,
very,
oh, you know,
very,
normal. It's going to
it
be
was very,
horrible all day just watching that shit.
it was very quick though. Like one of the first arrests was Diddy's drug mule. He's just like some white kid who would bring him coke and drugs, and he was the one who was going to get on the plane or something with a, you know. But he's the one in his, I think it's in his civil case or in his case, he's the one who's saying that Diddy would have basically buses of kids being brought to his house. So
You
this
got to
is
imagine
where,
the poor bastard's got to watch all this stuff and has to, like, you know, notate it down and take notes and be like,
yeah.
all right, well, this timestamp of the video here, this is what occurred, and you know, let's submit this into evidence. I mean, that's got to be a fucking horrible job. That's got to be a job that you just want to go home and blow your brains out every night.
That's a job where you have a flask in your desk drawer.
Hey, talk about a segue right now to move on from a topic. Because one of the topics we want to discuss tonight, folks, we're going to leave this whole Puff Daddy shit aside until more breaking news happens, which I'm probably will, because the world we live in now is just getting crazier and crazier with more horrible shit getting reported every single fucking day that just makes you cringe. But one of our topics tonight we wanted to talk about, our dear friends and other hosts of the show, Liarz and Wasted, have a deep dive they want to take about the history of booze. Gentlemen, and ET is a recovering alcoholic, so he's definitely going to be able to give you some knowledge and some viewpoints. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Well, I'll let you start, Wasted, because I've got more of some talk on prohibition that I want to get to, but you have some pretty interesting stuff to start it off with.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to like do like the history, like we're not like a history podcast, so we didn't want to just like go through it like in order, but you know, just sort of like kind of generally just look at different things. But like early on, I did notice that the first time that alcohol was like invented, it was like 7,000 BC or something in China, and it was like just rice in a pot. And then the funny thing is that I noticed that before that it was like this bug that lived on fermented fruit, and it was basically just drank its entire existence and never got drunk. There was that kind of like level, and then it kind of just moved to the thing that I came across was this you know, the pyramids were basically built on, the workers all got about like 10 10 or 12 like pints of beer a day to work. So when they were like building the pyramids, they were basically all drinking beer.
How'd they keep everything so straight if they're all hammered?
I don't know. It's just crazy. And they also used all alcohol was what they used in there. You'd think that all the sort of rituals, like in the pyramids, would be like some kind of mystical drug or something, but it was all just alcohol. They have these sacred rituals, and alcohol would be used. They also like built this huge distillery or something to produce beer, where they were producing like 10,000 gallons a day. The Egyptians were basically just living on beer, as it had like nutritional. I guess it was just what
That's some
fueled
value to it, yeah.
Yeah,
They were probably drinking like mead too, right? Like some archaic form of
honey.
alcohol.
Like I don't know if they were
Yeah.
using mead is like honey. I think. Yeah, that's just like something I picked up about. I didn't realize that all these different beers or alcohol were made with different things. And gin was this like from Geneva. Something like that. So they changed it was it was made in Geneva or something, so it became gin, even though it's juniper. But yeah, when I was looking at that the beer drinking in the pyramids, I saw this story about a drunk guy in Wisconsin. He was like underneath it, and he basically said that when he got arrested for drunk and disorderly, he was basically telling the cops that he'd just been sent back from the year 2048, and he'd been filled with alcohol and sent back, and that's why he was drunk. So he was telling he was telling the kind of cops that you've got to evacuate the town because they're sending drunk people back through time.
Guy was drunk enough to go to the town police and or was he had to have been high on drugs too?
Yeah,
Or was he just drunk?
He was arrested. I don't know. He was arrested for drunk and disorderly, I guess, because they can test that.
Imagine being so drunk you go to the cops and tell them to shut down the town.
Yeah,
Fuck, that's great.
that was his part of his cover story. He was like trying to get out of it by saying that he's from the future, but he'd been sent back to the wrong time or something. There was, which kind of just made me think about the kind of stuff that you say to the police when you get arrested for drunk and disorderly. I just wondered if anybody had those kind of stories. Because I remember one time we were like some guy from out of town came into town and he wanted to go, like we'd been drinking like all day or something. It was in the summer and he wanted to go on a sort of drinking binge like for the day. And we went, we drank all day and went to a club and stuff. And afterwards, because it was a seaside town, we'd go down and just sit on the front and look at the sea, like drunk, and we'd hide beer like at the beach so we could drink more at about sort of 3 a.m. or something. And we were there, and this guy, we lost him, and we were like, where's Stu Griff? That's what he's called. And we were just sitting on the front with this kind of like tape. My friend had this tape recorder thing, and he was playing Elvis or something. And I was like, I don't know. I looked back, and 3 squad cars like kind of came and just almost mounted the curb up onto where we were, and we were just like, we got up, and I said like, just don't say anything, just agree. And they said we've been called on a drunken disorderly and vandalism charges. Like there's been a complaint, and we're like, no, we didn't do anything. We've just been sitting here. And they said, really? And they just looked really. They were like searching us. So have you got any like drugs or weapons on you? We're like, no. And eventually they just they kind of looked at each other, and just as they were about to leave, like Stu Griff came up, and he was holding like these flowers that he pulled out of the ground, like out of all these flower displays. And what he'd been doing is he knew a girl in one of the houses along this street, and he was pulling up all these flowers from these flower beds and stuffing them through letterboxes. So every house along the street was calling the police station and saying somebody's like stuffing flowers through our letterbox. So that's who they were looking for. But when he turned up, he was holding the flowers, and I'm not sure they knew about the flowers, but they said they were like questioning him, and he, instead of like what we said was like, we don't know what you're talking about sort of thing, And they said, we were just playing along with them. But he was like, so are you going to arrest us for playing with picking flowers? And they said, no, we're just going to take you in. And he said, I can't believe you're going to take us in for like picking flowers. It's just picking flowers. And they were like, well, you're coming with us. And basically they put him in the drunk tank overnight. He went to jail. So we waited outside the prison all night until about I think got released at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or something. And as soon as he came out, we went back to the shop and bought more beer and started drinking again. And then I think he left at about mid-afternoon. He actually left. He was so drunk, he got in his car and drove out of the town. That's just one of the worst, drunk and disorderly meeting the police as I can remember.
Meeting the police, but getting busted by the cops always sucked, man.
Yeah.
We used to drink in the park a lot. There was a construction site that was kind of abandoned. We used to go there as well. Cops used to bust us there all the time. And it's as soon as you see the cops, it's every man for himself, right? Like, you're nobody's friend, right? It's just, as long as you can run faster than your friend, you're fine, right? So
I think that's the thing.
So many
I
nights,
gave them a fake name as well.
yeah, it was. I've done that. I did that a bunch of times too. You're 15, 16, maybe 17 years old, and you don't always have a wallet on you. At least when I was growing up, because we didn't have phones and shit, right? So you could give fake names, no problem, right? You just didn't have your ID on you.
And also, especially in the UK, there's no IDs. And also give a false address by a couple of numbers, or instead of Ashley Road, say Ashley Lane, instead of 3223. Right. Things like that. Yeah. It was a mistake though, because we hadn't done anything wrong.
That's stupid.
So we were just we were just sitting there. But
so I used to live. At the end of my street was an apartment building that my friend lived in, and I lived about halfway up the street. It was, and I say this in all honesty, it was literally probably a 2 to 3 minute walk. It was very close. I'm coming home one night from my buddy's house, all fucking gooned up. We'd had a bunch of beers and stuff, and the cops just stopped me out of nowhere, and they say, "Where are you coming from?" I look back at the apartment building. I go, "Right there." And he goes, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Right there." And I point to my house, right? And he starts saying, "Don't be a smart ass with me. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm walking home right there." And he's like, "Where do you live?" And I'm like, "Dude, I just told you I live right there." Anyway, he threatened to take me in that night for being insubordinate to a cop. And I was like fucking 16 years old, whatever. I don't know what that means at the time. So I got all scared. And finally, he just let me go. But then I had to answer to my parents because they saw me outside, and they're normally not up, but the cops' lights woke them up. So then I had to deal with my parents after that too, all gooned up at 16, which is never a good idea.
ET, yeah. What about you, man? We know that you have a long storied history with the booze.
Oh yeah. Not really. When you put it in perspective, I didn't start drinking until in my early 20s or almost mid 20s. I was a late bloomer because I didn't drink in college because I was afraid I would lose control, and I guess I was right. And I only drank for a little over 10 years, but I kind of feel like I got my whole life's drinking done in that 10 years. So.
What was your worst hangover? Do you ever have any bad hangovers?
Yeah, it's just 18 hours of like a railroad spike in my head and runny diarrhea, and you can't move, and you just have to lay in a dark room for 18 hours till it goes away.
You didn't shit yourself. I just remember one time in I think it was Greece, Kos. We're drinking. The worst hangover was this green cocktail. And we'd been drinking, and for some reason I was saying, "Give me the strongest cocktail in the place." I was just drunk, and they just gave me something that was just unidentifiable, and I drank maybe 5. I think they put meths. They put meths. They just put rubbing alcohol in those cheap tourist resorts, and I was just puking the next day. It was liquid green all day, neon green. And I couldn't, all I could do was puke on the tile floor in this Greek tourist apartment. I don't know. I just remember that being the worst pain and the worst color.
Yeah, I remember. I had one of those where I drank a bottle or two of whiskey, and I was just laying on the floor, and I just rolled over and puked everywhere, and it was just this thick, sludgy. It looked like just Hershey syrup. It was so gross, and I was just like, and I just rolled over and went back to sleep, and then it just congealed and hardened for like 13 hours until I finally tried to mop it up with a towel. It was so gross.
Yeah,
I'm
and you get
disgusted.
like the shape, you get the sort of aches. You like pull muscles in your back, puking when you're like dry heaving
Oh
for
yeah,
like
yeah.
days.
When
For
you
a
make that
day.
noise, like nothing's coming out, and you just kind of go.
Yeah, you start crying. I remember
Yes.
I started crying once by the toilet. Just went, bye.
Thanks.
Why?
Sorry. Lots of sorries involved. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
Start
I do
praying to the
remember that.
Lord.
Thankfully, it's been almost 10 years since I've done that, but I very much remember doing that. Dry heaves.
Gross.
And,
Yeah, I think it's easier to do with spirits. That's why I stick to beer, because I'm not a responsible drinker.
oh yeah, well that's why I stuck with liquor. Beer may as well be iced tea. I don't drink beer because it's
Yeah.
like, why would I do this? I need to drink. I've never got drunk off beer. I've drank like 10 beers, nothing happened. So I was always just straight to the hard liquor, just boom. And then I would drink it and be like, I like this. This feels good. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah, because with
I'm going to keep
spirits, you're
doing
supposed to
this.
measure out the shot and put like, I don't know, a double and make a Manhattan or something. But I
Yeah.
just put like, I'd get a pint glass, I'd fill it with a bit of ice, I'd pour in like half a pint or 2/3 of whiskey, then put a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of Sprite on the top of it, and then I
Yep.
just drink down it. So I drink like half a bottle of whiskey in like one drink.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then, and I basically wake up in the next morning like I'm about to like just die of some kind of malaria or something, and I just don't know
Yeah.
what happened.
And it was a good thing I didn't drink during the week because there'd be no way I would miss so much work because I basically one night of drinking equals a day and a half of hangover. So,
Yeah, the 2 day
So
hangover
you
is
only,
when.
yeah, you should have drank beer.
You can really fuck up drinking. I'll tell you what right now. I mean, I know I told the story on the Fatcast a long time ago, our old show before we rebranded and made a better show of Sheeeit radio. I remember one time, dude, a cheap bottle of scotch is the worst thing you can ever do in your life. Now,
Oh.
people are going to say tequila is the worst. People will say rum's the worst. No, 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 my friends. Cheap scotch is the worst. If you're going to drink scotch, you got to spend the money on it. Because if you get the really cheap scotch, I literally drank, a bunch of cheap scotch, like a shit ton, all right? And I remember waking up for the next, like, day to 2 days in random places. Like, I'd wake up on the floor. I'd wake up and my head would already be, like, not on the toilet seat, but, like, on the porcelain part of the toilet bowl. Like, sleeping on the actual, like, my side of the face, sleeping on the toilet bowl, waking up to puke, and then somehow waking up in bed, and just waking up in random places for, like, a day to 2 days because of this cheap scotch. Like, it was the ultimate cleanse. Like, people pay a lot of money to do these really fancy diet cleanses. Like, oh, I did a cleanse. I drank, apple cider vinegar for like a week, or I fasted, blah, 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 blah. You want to do a real fucking cleanse? Go get yourself some cheap scotch and randomly wake up in different fucking places in your home. It's like you lose time. You're like in the fucking spirit world. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I was saying, look at the size of that fucking chicken. It was the craziest thing. Liarz, what about you? What is the worst fucking hangover you've ever had, brother?
So I just want to ask you one question about the scotch. Are we talking like old granddad shit or worse than that?
We're talking like I went to the liquor store and found the cheapest bottle of fucking scotch I could find, like a big bottle of it. And, I used to have a good tolerance. I don't drink anymore, but back in the day, I had a pretty good tolerance. So it was going down really well. It was getting me really drunk, and I was all happy about it. But then it just turned nasty. I mean, like, as soon as I stopped drinking, like, I kind of felt it a little bit, but then a few hours later, like, by, the next morning, it was just, this is going to be an issue. This is a problem, and it's just going to get worse. And then the vomiting started, the blacking out started, the headache started. I mean, this was like someone took an ice pick, put it right in your fucking ear, then hit your head with a hammer, and then ran you over a car tire. Then after they're done doing that, decided to kick you in the head a few times. It was the most brutal fucking hangover I've ever had in my life. I mean, I still am terrified of that hangover. What about you, Liarz?
That's fucking dirty whiskey, man. probably involving Jack Daniels. I at one point I was so drunk, I bought myself a 40 of Jack Daniels. At one point during the night, I hid it on myself, and I was apparently going around to everybody saying, "Have you seen my bottle?" And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "I hid it." And just being a fucking drunk loser. I don't remember much after that. I remember waking up, the next day on a floor, horrible feeling of just absolute dread. And you get the shitty Tuesdays after that, because this is a Saturday night. You feel shit on all day Sunday, so you don't sleep well Sunday night, so you got to go to either work or school on Monday, and it's a shitty day. And then you wake up on Tuesday and it's like the worst day of your life.
Yeah, I've
But
made some big mistakes on drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't drink anymore, but yeah, we were jumping rooftops one night in Toronto. We stole a bunch of sports merch from the local sports bar that we went to every fucking night. And we decided to run up somebody's fire escape, and we were jumping rooftops just fucking. I think about that sometimes and just fucking gives me the shakes, because I don't know, they're 5-6 story buildings. We're just jumping from fucking rooftop to rooftop. If we had missed, we'd be dead.
We were doing that. I would still wake up in the middle of the night about it, because we were jumping blind. We were jumping down this row of houses on a hill. So we were jumping from one roof to the next roof down, and then each one of these rooms had like a skylight for the bathroom. So sometimes we were landing on the glass of the next house because we couldn't see what we were jumping into. So that was a stupid ass thing to do, going out the top of your house when you're drunk. Yeah. The worst thing I think I did was, it was the first time I ever drank alcohol, really. I went round to my friend's house. I think the reason why I went was because his sister was there with her friend, and she wanted her friend to get with my friend or something like that. But when we got there, these two girls were making this punch from all the alcohol in the liquor cabinet. They were pouring it in this bowl with fruit juice and blackcurrant or something. And they had these cups. And the other two left, and me and my mate's sister were just there. And I didn't really know anything about alcohol, so I was just taking a plastic cup of it and downing this punch. And I just kept going, and then she kept going. And we were basically drinking the whole thing. And eventually, somehow, her top was open, and I was just playing with her tits while she was just like looking around as if nothing was happening, because she didn't want her brother to come in. So then, he came in, and she like covered up and stood up and walked away. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I think I'm going to puke." And I puked like I didn't even make it out of the door. I just puked like by this chair right in front of it on this. And what it turned out to be was this carpet. It was like a white shag carpet, and it was brand new, like put in like 3 days before. And the parents were away, like almost like we finished the carpeting, now we're going out or something. And this white carpet was like worth like £9,000 or something. So as soon as I puked on it, it was all blackcurrant. And his sister just freaked out and started screaming like a crazy person, and going to the kitchen, drunk out of her mind, getting all these cleaning products and scrubbing it. And what she did was she scrubbed and Brillo padded this shag pile white carpet and kind of created a massive crater in it, which was like, she got the color out, like the purple, the purple blackcurrant color, but she totally made this patch. So that was a giant fuck up. So I used to go around to their house like all the time, and I was only like 15, and I had to go round to their house and apologize to the parents and say that it was all like my fault, and nobody else drank anything, it was all me. So I took the fall for that, and then from then on, everybody's parents thought that I was like this, like the bad guy. So I wasn't allowed to go around to anybody's house. But
they were right.
Smell, that smell of vodka, I still can't really drink vodka, because the whole house, when I woke up the next day, smelled of vodka. It was basically just 2 bottles of vodka, I think, and a bunch of other Tia Maria or something.
Wasted. Your
Man.
liver is so black, you actually qualify to be an African American. Okay, like you are one of the biggest alcoholics we've ever met. Like I know you had a doctor's appointment recently, and your doctor went, "Listen, if you don't stop drinking, you're gonna die." And how many days did you make it, buddy?
5. I normally try not to drink, and then after about 2 weeks, I just go fuck it, because it's bullshit. Like when I start reading what they said about the triglycerides and enzymes and stuff, what they said was you basically have a 30% chance of having a heart attack by the time you're 70 because of the triglycerides are so high, which just means you're just eating junk food and drinking whatever you want and eating crap food. So you're going to have a heart attack, 30% chance. But when I looked it up, it basically...
Explain Marlon Brando to me then.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he had like millions of heart operations or something. But he didn't drink. Marlon Brando didn't drink. He just ate full roast pigs,
Okay.
every day.
Sir, then explain Jackie Gleason to me.
Okay. Well, that's another thing is when you research, when you're paranoid and sober and reading all these alcoholic facts, alcohol actually lowers cholesterol and it actually widens the veins. While you're drinking, it thins the blood. So if you do have, if you eat a bunch of salt, it destroys the inside of your veins, the arteries and stuff. But alcohol kind of thins the blood, so it goes through smoother. So a lot of people, when they're alcoholics, it's when they stop drinking and then their blood starts to clot, that's when they die. So there are benefits to alcohol. They say sometimes that obviously it's bad for your health, any amount, but again, it does have other benefits. If I stop drinking, then I start eating like KFC and mint chocolate ice cream by the 3 tubs a day sort of thing. That's all I do. I just start eating ice cream, which probably fucks you up more than alcohol. You just start having crazy diarrhea.
Wasted earlier this week, and I want you to really take heed to this. If you ever remember the movie Super Size Me, Liarz, ET, do you remember the movie Super Size Me, the documentary? Yeah, so Morgan Spurlock is dead, okay? This guy went and ate McDonald's for a 1 whole month, and he gained almost 30 pounds from it. Then he quit it and said he was eating a healthy lifestyle, etc. But what a lot of people don't know is this dude was a raging alcoholic. And so he stopped eating McDonald's and continued with the booze. And then, he died of cancer because, I don't know what caused the cancer, this and that. But I got to think if he continued with just eating the McDonald's, he'd probably have a better shot of not getting the cancer. Because every time I go to a fucking McDonald's, or when I used to go to McDonald's before they were so overpriced because of inflation, the only thing you saw there, during the morning, was a bunch of old motherfuckers. I mean, these people are in the 80s and 90s sitting around drinking coffee, eating Egg McMuffins. So, I mean, their customer base was elderly, so it kind of shows that it doesn't kill you. I think him quitting the McDonald's probably, probably led to it, add to the alcoholism, which if he quit drinking, quit McDonald's, maybe that was a shock to his system completely, where it was like, you're fucked. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you know?
The Super Size Me documentary, though, didn't that guy eat McDonald's for every single meal and eat no vegetables? And then he said that his kidneys started shutting down and organs started shutting down. I think, you need to eat some vegetables. I mean, that's my main problem is I'm very bad at eating the actual vegetables. So I can eat fast food 3 times a day by accident. Or not really. I eat McDonald's breakfast and then go round the corner to get a Whopper for lunch. But, it's I've been trying to eat some sort of Chinese cabbage or something, but I don't know how you're supposed to enjoy that. So I just boil it and then put chili sauce on it and then just eat it.
Wait, so there's a guy named Don Gorski. He's world famous for eating a Big Mac every day. All right.
Oh yeah, and he's fine.
Yeah, he's fucking 70 years old. All right.
I think Big Macs are almost healthy. It's
hey guys, I gotta go.
It's the Sprite and the fries.
ET, thank you for being on tonight. Thanks for being here, and it was a pleasure having you on, and we look forward to having you back.
Yeah,
have a good night, buddy.
Me. Sorry I got to bail early. I'll see you guys later.
It's all right. Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
But back on point here, guys. I mean, this guy's fucking fine.
And he's 70.
Yeah.
I mean, when I go to McDonald's, all the people in there are really thin. I always go, why am I such a fat fuck? Because all the people in there, I guess they only maybe eat McDonald's once a day, and that's maybe what they eat. Maybe that's all they can afford, type of thing. So they're kind of starving.
He's eating 34,000 Big Macs. All right. In 2003, this is what his in 2003, Gorski ate 741 Big Macs, an average of 2 Big Macs a day daily. He's 6'2", 185 pounds, and he claims he has a cholesterol level of 140. It just doesn't make sense. It just people are telling you, hey, this is bad for you, but at the same time, I mean, this guy's still kicking and alive, and people that are that are not.
But when you compare like a Big Mac to other foods, like you see somebody eating like fried rice with like pork ribs or something, and then you look at your Big Mac, is it really that much? It's not. The Big Mac's not really that bad, is it? The burgers are not really like high. I don't know what the actual. I know it's like a really high sodium, but they don't look like they're really greasy kind of heart attack things. They're quite dry and sort of. They've got a bit of salad and a bit of mayo, but everybody has mayo with their food. So in comparison to other people, maybe it's not really that much difference. Just the liter Sprite that you get or whatever it is. Sugar, that's too much sugar, and then there's fries on top, and then you've got nuggets that the coating, the outside shell of the nuggets, probably the worst thing. That's going to block your arteries. But a Big Mac is kind of
very high in fat. It's very, very high in fat.
Trans fat.
And saturated fat.
Yeah.
And
saturated fat. Yeah.
It's also very high in, like you said, sodium, and it's also.
But you know what I saw the other day, though. What I saw the other day is I saw something the other day because I was looking at McDonald's stories. The Big Mac in the US is different from the Big Mac in the UK. The Big Mac in the US, they use all hydrated oils or something, like 100%, and they also cook all the fries in beef stock or something.
Beef tallow. Yeah.
Yeah. So the European Big Mac is not as loaded with the trans fat as the American version, the meal. So it's like 50% less. It doesn't taste as good in like here. When I look at a Big Mac, sometimes it really like doesn't look like a real Big Mac. It looks like a fake Big Mac, like a it's not as juicy as the real one in America or something, or the UK even. I don't know if that's really possible, but it just doesn't look as good.
I imagine the Big Mac here in Canada probably tastes different and looks different than the Big Mac in the US. I haven't had one in the United States, so I don't know, but I would say it's safe to assume for sure.
I mean, have you guys actually looked at like what's on the back of most food products? Like it's shit that you think's healthy. Go actually read the nutritional facts and what the ingredients are in there. You'll be shocked, though. Like
you're right.
Most of the stuff that people tell you that are like, "Hey, this is really good for you," because it's all propaganda. It's just bullshit. It's not good for you. I mean, all the stuff they now put in food. There's a reason why, like Americans used to be a hell of a lot slimmer, and this is coming from a fat guy. I'm not going to kid you here, folks. I got a few extra pounds. I mean, I could really lose. But I mean, they made our food so chemically enhanced, and I know it tastes better, but they add sugar and salt to fucking everything.
Yeah, the sodium in a Big Mac meal is like 1,500 milligrams per Big Mac meal, and your kind of total for the day is supposed to be 2,000. So your Big Mac meal plus the nuggets is your sodium level. That it's all the sodium you need, for the whole day in one meal. Yeah. So that does it. And also, there's they use waste products in some of these foods, like the chicken. I think isn't the rumor or the classic story about the McDonald's milkshake is that it's like 70% chicken fat. The thickness to it is they use fat that's like siphoned off from chickens. Yeah, so if you think about the milkshake like that, it's kind of gross.
That's pretty tasty.
What are they yelling about in the background, Wasted?
It's kind of, it's getting towards lunchtime, so the workers from across the road, they're all coming in to buy beer. and get like in 7-Eleven they do these like boxes of rice. They do like bento boxes, rice with meat and vegetables in a box, or noodles in a box that they microwave. So they just get those and then buy some beers, and because they're always drinking like when they're doing their work in the day because it's so hot, I think. But there's a building site over there. They're building these AI like companies, like Acton and Weistron or something.
So wait, so let me get this straight. The Taiwanese builders and construction workers, the ones who build these buildings that can withstand these 8.0 magnitude earthquakes and not collapse,
Yeah, surprise.
they're absolutely shit-faced most of the time.
Well, it looks like, whenever I go to the supermarket and come back, I have to walk past this like building site. And have you ever seen like the Last Exit to Brooklyn, where that kind of Marilyn Monroe like prostitute walks past all these builders and they all whistle at them? That's what I feel like. There's all these big giant like worker guys, and they've got these vans set up with food, and it's all like crawfish and prawns and barbecue like sausages and stuff, and it's all set out, and they're just crushing like big cans of Budweiser in the middle of the day when it's like 40 degrees, and I walk past like with my little bag of shopping like a prostitute, and they all look at me like they're going to rape me or something.
Now, there's a few things I want to clarify there. When Wasted says 40 degrees, he means 40 degrees Celsius. So that's like 100 degrees or high 90s Fahrenheit for us Americans, okay? Number two, you said these guys are all giant. They're Taiwanese. I've never seen a giant Taiwanese man. How is that possible?
I think it's more like they're well packed with. They're just like these big guys that guzzle beer all day and eat like sausages and stuff.
Crawfish.
Like Taiwan, buckets of crawfish, just peeling it with their hands, and they've got like mustaches and they've got hats, and
they're real men, but
wife beaters. Yeah, they're wife beaters.
So they're not really tall, right? But they're just like jacked up and like well built,
kind of
right?
Like Mexican. They're like Mexicans or something.
So let me get this straight. Over in Taiwan, they're living the American dream. They're out there pounding brewskis all day long, fucking eating crawfish and eating ribs, and they're building shit with their hands. And they're building quality stuff. I mean, over in Taiwan, you get, like I said earlier, they're building these buildings that are like, hey, fuck, an 8.0 earthquake happens, 8.0 magnitude, fuck, this ain't gonna fall. The pool water might go over, but it'll be good. Maybe a few glass breaks, windows here and there, but it's gonna stand up. Meanwhile, over here in the United States, these workers aren't drinking. They're all getting paid really well. But any small thing happens, a building goes right the fuck down. You tell me over in Taiwan, they're living... Yeah, well, flying into it, controlled demolition, tomato. But right now, you tell me that over in the People's Republic of China, a.k.a. Taiwan, they're living the American dream.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, even in China, you could open carry alcohol. You could just drink alcohol on the street and a can, like a free American. But I heard that you can't do that in the US. You have to put it in a brown paper bag or something. But in China, there's people, there's peasants. There's peasants on the street just open a bottle of like Chinese alcohol, swigging it in the middle of a fucking intersection on a road with their top off. There's no like laws in China,
I got to know how Liarz feels about this, because Liarz is a working man. He's an everyday working man. He's a common man of the people here, and he lives under the totalitarian dictatorship of Trudeau and everything. When you're hearing about this over in Taiwan, how does it make you feel living up in Canada, bud?
Well, there's up until just recently, within I would say probably the last 10 years, you couldn't even buy alcohol on a Sunday here. There's no alcohol. You can't have any open alcohol on the streets. If you're caught, it's a pretty hefty fine. I think it's around $250. Even in your vehicle, if you're transporting the alcohol from the liquor store to your house, it has to be out of arm's length. You can't have it, so you can't have any open alcohol on you. Period. Blah blah. It's just as you thought it would be in Canada.
Yeah, here they smoke as well, like crazy. Like the other day, I saw somebody, like I walked past, there's all these scooters and they wear helmets. And I walked past one guy and I looked at him and looked inside his helmet, and he had a cigarette inside his helmet and he was smoking. And like in China, they tried to ban smoking, and there was this restaurant. It was on the news. It was like a big story because they tried to ban smoking in restaurants, and some restaurant threw some guys out, like a big table of guys who were drinking and smoking in the restaurant. They were just like there were kids everywhere, and they were just like breaking the laws, and they kicked these guys out, and then these guys waited on the street, and when the waiters came out of the restaurant, they beat the shit out of them.
I'm just listening to what Wasted saying here, and I'm thinking about Liarz' homeland. Now, Liarz, I've been to Canada a few times in my life, but when I grew up, I grew up with Canada being learning about Canada from such movies as Strange Brew and the Red Green Show and the Trailer Park Boys. What the fuck, buddy? I mean, I thought Canada was all about flapjacks, Molson beer, manly shit. I thought you guys were all wearing flannels up there, fucking cutting down trees. What the fuck is going on?
We are doing that.
Okay, good. That's, I get it. Like, listen, I'm not encouraging drinking and driving. Drunk driving's a horrible thing. We don't want that. But at the same time, I mean, if you're like walking outside, you can't have a beer. What if you just ordered some poutine and fries? You're sitting out there eating your French fries and gravy, you're having a good old time, and you want to have a fucking beer and walk in the park. You can't do that.
No, sir. That is
Good Lord.
100% against the law. That's that will get you a fine for sure.
But don't you guys have suicide machines? So like you can't have a beer in public, but you can go kill yourself in a suicide.
I'll kill myself if I wanted to. Yeah. What are they calling it?
Tell us about that.
So it's basically suicide. It's assisted suicide. You can you kill yourself if you want. There's a process you have to go to, and I don't know the age limit on it, but it's pretty young. And yeah, you can kill yourself if you want.
Yeah, there's definitely some horrible story I saw. I think you can do it in Switzerland. Some kid told his parents he was going to Paris on holiday, and he went to Switzerland and got himself put to death.
I mean, folks,
he was only
just
18
so you know,
or something.
We encourage you, if you ever have suicide thoughts or anything like that, please go seek mental health. Please call the suicide hotline number. Please talk to someone. We know the world's tough. We know emotions and feelings, and you can just feel like there's no winning, that there's no victory, that things are never going to get better. But just take a deep breath.
I was thinking the David Lee Roth quote about suicide was don't make life and death decisions in a suicidal state of mind.
That's a great point, Wasted.
So from the government of Canada's website, the project is called M.A.I.D, Medical Assistance in Dying, an overview. So yeah.
I mean, I get it if you have like terminal cancer and you're in a lot of pain and you just want to be out of the pain. I completely understand that. But in any other case than that, I mean, there should be mental health outlets. There should be somebody that you can talk to. And I know there is. So folks, if you're listening, our audience, our viewers, guys, I get it. I get feeling that way.
It doesn't really make sense.
I get feeling depressed. No, it doesn't. Because guess what?
Because they're trying to keep everybody alive. They won't let you drink or smoke. But then they give you like a sort of access to suicide facilities. It's just like, make your mind up.
Wasted, I understand that completely, but I just want our audience to know that, hey, if you're having those thoughts, it's okay. We all go through shit. We all go through times in our life where we feel defeated, that it's not going to get better. But just hold in there and try to get some help. Try to talk to some people. Your life can change and be a more positive thing. So just, before you get too far down the road and you want to give up, just remember things can always change and they can get better. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be small steps. But we're not encouraging it. I brought it up because I just thought it's really kind of funny, the fact that it's like, oh no, you can't drink in public, but hey, you can go kill yourself. The fucking stupidity in that is amazing to me. Speaking of stupidity, are you guys planning on flying anytime soon? Because I sure as fuck not. Every time I see the news, another one of those fucking Boeing planes are going down, or they're like, oh, there goes a door, or here's the engine. I just saw another one this week where they had like severe turbulence and somebody got killed in it, and everyone got thrown around the cabin. I mean, it's fucking crazy. Have you guys seen any of that?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this one.
The spinal injuries. Like the first guy, some guy died, didn't he? He was in his 70s. He actually died on the flight that met turbulence. But then recently, or more recently, there's people coming out and they've all got spinal injuries because of the plane dropped from a certain height to lower height or something. I think that's what I was seeing. They've all got like spines out of place or something.
Crazy.
But it's crazy, dude. It's not like a few planes. It's almost like it's hundreds of planes over the last few years. I mean, they grounded a whole fucking the Dreamliner series of planes. Here in America, the FAA is like, yeah, these fucking things ain't safe to fly. And then you had two whistleblowers that came out like, oh yeah, we work for Boeing, and this shit's fucked up. It's not safe. Quality control's not there. And then mysteriously, they die mysteriously.
And all these budget flights as well don't fill me with confidence. When they were offering, I saw like in the UK, because they're not selling these tickets, they reduced the price to $17 to fly from like UK to Spain. So that the flights is so cheap, but it doesn't like. I'm not going to be taking any unnecessary flights.
Dude, Spirit Airlines right now, they removed all on-flight entertainment because it saved them like $47 million or $46 million. Like, so you guys don't need, in-flight entertainment anymore. We're going to remove that. I mean, basically Spirit Airlines is like Soul Plane without the fun and humor. It's just like, it's like riding the fucking Greyhound.
Don't you have to pay for extras? Like if you want a napkin, you now have to pay for it. Stuff like that. Like everything's itemized, so if you like
you want a seatbelt and an oxygen mask, that's going to be $50, and it's $100 surcharge on top of that.
I think it's getting to that point because the oxygen mask is more expensive than the flight, so that's extra.
I mean, now when you're flying, you got to imagine it's like you're like in that episode of the fucking Twilight Zone or the Twilight Zone movie where you're looking out and you're thinking you're seeing something on the plane, but it's not something on the plane; it's the fucking engine coming off.
Yeah, I was on one of those flights, like going from John Lennon Airport in Liverpool to Northern Ireland. On takeoff, we were about to take off. The captain bailed, and we took off, and then he went "fuck this," and then landed, and we skidded across the runway. Yeah, and everybody was just like "fuck," and then
"fuck this."
Yeah, like this. Yeah, and then the pilot came out from the back and said, "Sorry about that." It's like, it was his last flight. He was retiring that day, and he came out and went, "Sorry," he did the captain voice, like, "Sorry about that." One of the engines blew, or so it was something that, he couldn't fly without it. So he basically bailed, and we all applauded him for like saving our lives. And then it took like 3 hours or 4 hours. We had to sit in the plane, then we had to disembark and get on these buses. And we all hadn't eaten, and we were in there for like 3 hours while they got a new plane and pulled it up. And this is just like a tiny, like Ryanair or Spirit or whatever, that type of plane. But yeah, it was like scary shit. This is before
got a fucking bumper sticker on the back of the plane. How's my flying?
Yeah, but he was like, it was his last flight before he retired.
At least he didn't do it the fucking Malaysia M370 pilot, that MH370, like, Hey, at least he landed the fucking thing back down and didn't, depressurize the cabin and go, let's bury this bitch outside in somewhere in the Indian Ocean.
He just took him to Epstein's Island, I think. That's what he did.
Probably.
Well, you got any funny airplane stories about any of your trips? Because I know you're a world traveler.
You know what? I haven't really flown all that much, to be honest. And no, I got the only thing a stewardess got really, or a flight attendant got really mad at me once. I was flying from Toronto to Montreal, and she was an older French Canadian woman, and a little salty. And anyway, I had asked for a can of Coke, whatever. So she gives me how they give it to you in that glass. She gives me the glass, and something had happened. I think one of the other flight attendants knocked me, and it spilled my Coke. And dude, I swear to God, she got so mad at me. She stood in the middle of the aisle. She put her hands on her hips, and she just like yells at the top of her lungs. She's like, "Oh, look what you did! Look what you did! You spilled it everywhere!" And so the whole fucking plane is looking at me by now, and I'm like, "Are you really fucking doing this? Like, this is completely unacceptable behavior. Like, don't talk to me like this, you stupid bitch." Anyway, nothing funny, but just a stewardess yelling at me.
Yeah, they get mad, and they're also like inconsistent. Like on the flight to Egypt, the British Airways people just know you're British. They just give you like unlimited like Carlsberg cans. But like these sort of Emirates, they're all kind of Muslim, so they act as if alcohol is like some poison. You know, and they give you like one drink, and then you ask for another one, they go no, and they never do it. But probably the funniest things happen was probably on the planes with the like when you fly China Airlines out of like China, it's all Chinese tourists who have never left the country, so they all play like cards, and they've all got these flags and T-shirts because they're all part of a group. And once they get on the plane, they've only never been on a plane before, so they've got no etiquette. So they just basically got all these kind of crazy, like they basically don't put their bags above, you know, in the lockers. They just want to sit with their bags, and they get all their stuff out, and they just drive the hostesses crazy because they just don't follow any of the rules. No seat belts on. They swap in seats. They're taking other people's seats. And then where was it? I think it was in Hong Kong. Coming back, one of them bought a flat screen TV, and somehow they got it on the plane. Like they bought the flat screen TV in the airport in Hong Kong, and then they were trying to like balance. They were trying to sit with this flat screen TV on the plane. They brought it on as carry-on luggage. Some crazy Chinese person has bought like a sort of Sony flat screen in Hong Kong airport.
How big was it?
It's fucking giant. It was like a 65-inch, you know. It was like they just put it on the chair, and then they were sort of sitting against it. It was at an angle, and the hostess was like, "This, you can't do this. This shouldn't be here. It should have been like stored in the back or something." But yeah, all those flights are insane because every single person doesn't know what to do. They have babies. They don't put them in the racks properly. They have too much luggage. They buy so much duty free, and they start breaking out the duty free, even though it's like illegal, you know. And loads of smoking. They smoke in the fucking toilets, you know. They don't know because all the toilet signs are in English. They're like, we didn't know. And you're like, what? They've never been on a plane before, sort of thing. It's crazy. It's just out of control. And all these like the hostesses are normally like, you're on China Eastern. They're normally like from Hong Kong or something, so they hate Chinese mainland people anyway. So they're just like, but yeah, like that. I think I told you about the woman with the baby that would if you put it up on the rack, it was screaming, and then when they put it on the floor, yeah, things like that. And then people in first class like can't handle the fact that there's any noise from a baby coming from the back.
Oh fuck!
It's total chaos in economy.
So flying right now is, I mean, it's out of the question for me. It seems like Liarz is on the same page, and Wasted's doomed to fly because, I mean, he just has to fly. I mean, if he wants to go home and visit his family or, you know, whatever he's got to do, eventually if he has to leave Taiwan, he's got to fly somewhere. So he's kind of fucked. So he's going to have to fly again, which, ugh.
Going through Dubai is not fun either. They've got like mosques in the airport, and the queues for the toilets and the mosques, they're so long. I don't know what's up with Dubai. Is like a sort of airport is like a mall, but everybody seems to go to the toilet. I don't know. There's something going on though. Like especially the mosques and the toilets are next to each other. You know, they have to pray.
Well, let me ask you this, Wasted. I know in the Arab world that some countries they use their hand instead of toilet paper. I mean, when in the Dubai airports, they at least got toilet paper.
Yeah, they.
Oh, is that India?
I'm live in China. I carry like toilet paper on me at all times because they have toilets, but they don't have toilet paper. So I've always got tissues on me.
So Wasted, right now at 7-Eleven, you have toilet paper on you.
Yeah, like here, I can probably, like in my back pocket. You get caught out. Yeah, look, 2 packs, Tempo and some fucking Disney shit.
Is it 2-ply? Is it 2?
What?
Is it 2-ply, 3-ply?
A mixture. Yeah, I've got the thick ones, you know, because you can get a smaller pack and then it'll fit in your pocket, but they're thick. And then I've got the ones that they sell here because the water is not very strong. The flushing, it's one of those countries where you're supposed to throw your shit paper in a bin, not flush it. So all the toilet paper they've got is thin. So just in case you do flush it, it doesn't block any of the toilets. But yeah, I've blocked toilet. There's one toilet where I go there, the supermarket toilet. Every time I go there, I need a shit. And then I use toilet paper and I just block it and it just overflows. And then I go out, like trying not to get caught on the security cameras. You know what I mean? And I go down on the fucking escalator, just leave the fucking area. And then the next day I come back and go, fucking hope they didn't notice this. Because there's a massive sign on the door. Don't put paper in and I do it every time. Because it's disgusting throwing toilet paper into the bin that just sits there and it's full of everybody else's shit paper and you have to open it and throw it in. Fuck that. I don't know. I'd rather flood the entire toilet.
Why is he flooding up the grocery store toilet on a normal basis? There's a fucking wanted poster for security with wasted face on it. Watch out for this man.
That's how I feel. I sometimes don't even go I go to different supermarkets because I'm worried about getting caught the next day. I change it up a bit. Because I'm the only person that would do that, you know.
And then you walk by the group of construction workers eating their fucking
and they're like
shrimp and fucking drinking their beers. What a fucking life you lead, man! It's amazing. I'm jealous.
It's just everyday. It's just everyday life. It's just stupid shit happens.
Lies. There's going to be a fucking investigative report on Taiwanese news. An unknown foreign man keeps flooding local grocery stores' toilets.
That could happen. The story that was latest, they're always nobbling like foreigners because there's some like British guy somewhere in, I think it's New Taipei. He's got in trouble because he dropped a banana skin on the floor, like outside a 7-Eleven or something, and everybody started filming him and following him down the street because in Taiwan there's no bins, so you have to take your rubbish with you, and you definitely can't litter because there's all these there's rats and cockroaches. So they're almost like there's big signs with like fines. It's like 10,000-20,000 Taiwan dollars for littering, any litter. The place is really clean though, but you can't litter. But this guy is on like YouTube or whatever with this banana skin. He refuses. They surround him and make him go back to pick it up, and he won't or something.
Lies.
So, yeah, you got to watch out. Be careful.
Lies.
I'm here.
I'm telling you right now, we're gonna end up in a fucking like midnight run situation with Wasted. He's gonna be fucking in prison for fucking flooding all these grocery store toilets with fucking toilet paper. He's gonna be like, we got him, boys. This guy's got fucking life sentence. Why? He kept flooding out all these grocery store toilets.
Because he doesn't care. He'd rather flood out the toilet.
It's easy to do. You just think every time I do it, I think it's okay. It's not going to happen this time. It can't possibly happen again. You know, I put like 4 or 5 pieces of toilet paper and then flush it. It's got zero fucking water pressure. It just goes and blocks immediately, and then the water just starts rising.
Some poor bastard has to go in there.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're doing this poor bastard.
The classic was the woman.
The water rises. That's the fucking worst feeling ever because you don't know when it's going to stop and you just pray.
Literally, one time I went in there. One time I went in there, literally, and some woman, the toilet woman, cleaner, came out of that toilet as if she just unblocked it, and I went straight in there and blocked it again.
And can you imagine how bad these shits must smell? Because Wasted's diet's pretty much fast food and booze, so they gotta be fucking horrendous. Those poor bastards. just Wasted's fucking dying liver.
Well, it's basically not even solid shit. It's just liquid. You know, it's basically liquid shit as well. It's just like shit water just overflowing. It's not really.
Making better. All right, I'm composed.
No, I want you to think about this. This man's diet is nothing but hard alcohol and beer and fast food, and he's going in there and just blasting these fucking toilets. And they're just overflowing, and some poor bastard's like, the toilet's clogged, so he's expecting to go in there, just, maybe a little toilet paper, just to smell the fucking horror.
Well, that's why I have to use so much toilet paper, is because it's basically liquid. It's just diarrhea that I'm wiping off my ass. It just never stops. So you use like eight pieces of like tissue, like a whole packet of tissues, basically. Thick cut.
The poor guy's out there walking by. He just hears this guy spraying liquid ass everywhere from his latest fucking night of drunken debauchery. And just fucking toilet every fucking covered sprayed and shit. And then the water just comes fucking flooding out.
Oh man,
A sea of shit.
horrible.
Yeah,
But just hilarious.
just the truth. The truth hurts sometimes as well.
Oh man. All right, boys. Is there anything else? I know we were talking about the history of booze, and we kind of got a little sidetracked there. Was there anything else on the topics tonight you guys wanted to talk about before we switch over to Frans and talk about some of his work?
No, let's get to Frans. I was gonna touch upon prohibition and Canada's involvement, but we'll get to it another time for sure. Like it's a good segment, so we'll get to it another time. Let's get to Frans right now.
Yeah, keep it gangster.
Keep it gangsta. Alrighty, here I am joined with our good friend Frans. Frans, how are you?
I'm good, man. Liarz, how are you, man? It's been a while.
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a while. But things are good. Glad to have you here. Let's get right to it. Talk about your new website. What's the name of the website?
Yeah, it's GNF, and R, and then with, yeah, it's weird. It's written like R as in pirate, R. So, yeah, gnfnr.com. And basically, it's about bootlegs and pirate. It has a pirate team, so I figured that I would call it GNFNR to keep it simple
Right.
name. And yeah, actually, I when we used to do the Fatcast, we wanted to build a site, and then we all know how that ended. And then I decided to keep the server and build a GNR website because I still wanted to have the bootleg. Because there are some bootleg sites, and yeah, there are some good sites with info, but the bootleg info is gone. So yeah, basically it is a website where you can see what audio shows are available and how many versions there are and which is the best version. Also what happened during that show. I'm not using John's notes from GNR on Tour, the famous website. Everybody's always quoting from him. I try to have another section with much more info and not use his because it's overused, I think. But it's also a website that's under construction. I mean, it's getting slow. I'm building it slowly. I mean, I was busy with like 5 projects at the same time. I also get the help from a friend called WWIII, and he's just also giving me the info, and I'm basically coding the website. But the thing is, I wanted to have a website that hosted with a host that doesn't respond to DMCA requests. Because that would be cool, because my point is I want to share bootlegs and they are always blocked, if I upload them, and by whom. So I figured if I took a website like that hosted on a foreign server, and they claim they don't respond to DMCA requests. So imagine that Mojo, or however the fuck you want to call it, would send in a request. They just basically tell them to fuck off, and it's hosted in one of the 7 lands or countries that don't have DMCA rules or copyright rules. So yeah, that's a good thing, and it seems to work because I shared some fucking awesome shit like called the Whisky. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Sure did.
That was fucking awesome, and I'll tell more about it later. But yeah, it's still live, so it seems to work. Anyways, but that would also mean that I had to build it myself from scratch, which is pretty hard because there's so many good website builders, but they all want you to use the program and host them with them and pay subscription to use the tool. So I didn't want to go that route because this DMCA thing was really important for me. So, but that means I have to code it myself basically. Which is pretty hard, and but we'll get there, man. It's still in construction. In the end, it will have also video bootlegs and screenshots of the best version and vice versa. And there's a forum attached to it, and on that forum, I try to release new shows and share them by torrent. And I host that on a private torrent server, so it can be blocked or neither can be found, only through the website. So perfect. Yeah, and I have to be more active on the forum, but I'm so busy with stuff, and people find it, and I want to be more active, but hopefully the users will get more active sooner or later. But it's going to be a long-term project, so there's no hurries, and so basically that's what I've been doing mainly. And I've been releasing new shows or stuff I bought, like the Whisky. I mean, it's so awesome, and the story behind it is, people ask me about the story behind it, and I thought let's reveal it here because everybody says, how do you get it? Because it was unseen footage, actually. It was the Whisky, a famous Whisky show where they had a lot of strippers on stage, and it's there's a lot of talk about it, but there was no snippets from it. There was a little snippet of it available in the documentary, but the biggest part people didn't see yet. And it really shows the roughness and the rawness of the GNR, and it's so fucking amazing.
In their early years. Then this show's from 1986, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's so fucking good.
And is this the same show that you put up on the website? GNFNR, that's your website. So
that's where I released it and put the torrent for people to download it. Yeah. But I don't show, the video is not to see there, but you can download the full quality video. I mean, obviously people will upload it on YouTube. I gave it to somebody who uploaded it on YouTube to see what happened there, and it's still live there. And
it's still live right now.
Yeah, it's still live, and I also uploaded on this website. I forgot the name, but it's not a popular site. Just to see what happens, because it was unseen footage, so you would expect it if they would block something, it would be that. And also,
this is a classic show. This is a classic show with the classic lineup. At their rawest and probably their most badass, because this is
fucking great.
Probably before Appetite came out, right?
Yeah, man, and the lyrics are different sometimes, and there's a really long version of Anything Goes on it. It's just crazy good, man, and the beauty of it is it's obviously a Mark Hunter filmed show, and I expect, because it's also a low gen, I think it's a first gen, and I think that, because how I got it is, we all heard about the Tom Zutaut's leaks and village locker thing, but this was also bought on eBay, and but it was sold by his old housekeeper. So I guess at one stage he moved out of his house, and she found those tapes and put them on for sale. And we were fortunate to buy it. I was fortunate to buy it, and then find out that it was that. So, and then I, of course, was amazed by it, and I have it for a while already. I tried to trade it for other stuff, because typically with this stuff you can release you can have other stuff to surface. So, but at one point I thought I'm going to share it. I always was the plan, and so I threw it out there, and it's so amazing. I mean, it's really good. There is even an after show in it where you can see Slash talking with Storm Zutaut, and it's just amazing, man. And again, the strippers on stage, and you see Slash passing a bottle of whiskey. There's a sort of a bluesy part where there's a saxophone playing, and again, the beauty of it, I think it's a first gen, because I think that.
So just what that means, first gen.
Yeah, okay, so if you have a video or a tape, and you have the master tape, and if you make a copy of it, then that tape the copy will be the first gen, and you lose quality. And every time with analog sources, so somebody makes a copy of that copy, it's a second gen, so you lose quality every copy, which doesn't happen when you have it digitally. And we have some more counter shows, and they're all high gen, so they all look fucking bad. But this is like a first gen. I think if this is just a theory, I'm not sure, but it was in Zutaut's hands. So I think at one stage, Mark Hunter made a copy from his master, sent it to Zutaut, so he could show Geffen what band they signed. I think that's what happened. And so it's really low gen, so it's good quality compared to other shows we have from Counter, because they were all fifth copies or sixth copies. So that makes it even nicer, actually.
So what else do you have? So you have that infamous or famous whiskey show from 1986 on your website. You have the forum going. How many active members do you have on the forum? Is it quite busy?
Well, there are I think about 150 members, but most come to lease the shows, which I understand, and so there's not too much activity, but I hope that it will expound in later, but it's just mainly built for me to have, because I like to remaster shows and bring them out for the public, and you can like it or not, you can download them or not. But at one stage I stopped with doing that because every time I put a show up, there was somebody watching and blocking it, you know. Then I tried to upload it into Usenet, but it was too complicated for many people to be downloading from that. So that's why I figured maybe this works, you know, with the DMCA requests and hosting with a private torrent tracker. So
the DMCA requests are super important in the GNR world, especially when you're involving bootlegs, because they're notorious for taking down anything that isn't officially recognized, sanctioned, whatever from the band itself, right? So, what other shows do you have on there? I know you did some audio and put it up on the badapplesforum.com. That's another site that we go to. You had the two other albums. You had the acoustic one and which ones? Go ahead.
I had I did an acoustic album, part one, and that's basically where I just separated Axel's vocals and then find an acoustic version of that song,
which was phenomenal, by the way.
I liked it myself too.
Great.
It's just a whole different. Yeah, it's just the same songs, but some are so nice, and I really like it how it turned out to be. And I always wanted to do a version 2 with different songs, but it's hard to find enough songs, you know, because you need to find somebody who plays it acoustic. Usually, I rip them from YouTube and then just remove the vocals from that and then put them all together. But also the thing is that often it's played a little bit faster, so it's pretty hard to make because you want to have the vocals like going into the same rhythm, but sometimes you have to slow down or speed up, and sometimes it doesn't really fit. But then still, it's fucking beautiful, I think. And so I managed to get 12 new songs. Forget me, maybe it's 13, I don't know. So I could do another album, and this one's also very good. I like it so much myself because it's basically the same songs, but a totally different way to listen to them. And so I did that, yes, and I put that out. And I also, when AI came looking around the corner, I wanted to do redo Chinese Democracy. I mean, people might know it's not my favorite album, or it's not even Guns N' Roses technically.
It's anybody's really favorite album. Some people say they like it, but I don't know if I believe them.
I come across a lot of people these days, especially youngsters, that claim this is better than anything. But let's not go into that discussion. But I always wanted to do a version where you can use Axel's old vocals, but that's too hard. I mean, AI is there, and some conversions are pretty good, but the thing is, Axel has 10 different voices, so you actually need 10 different AI voices, and that would be too hard. But you still, so what I did is I tried it, and then I used the raspy voice from Axel. So actually, what I did is I remade Chinese Democracy, and but I added extra rasp to it, you know. So I overlaid an extra track with only the vocals with more raspy, and then mixed it, and yeah. I like it actually more. It's still a fucking shit album, but yeah, it's a little bit better. And I decided to release
Some
it.
Some of the highlights was definitely Sorry. I enjoyed Sorry, and Prostitute.
True. That one
Prostitute's good too.
I have to admit, I used to have the album, and I bought it on pre-sale, and recently I gave it to another fan, and I said to him, man, it's brand new. It's only one time listened to, which is actually true. And it was gathering dust in my attic, and he couldn't get it, so I sent it to him for free. Anyways, the thing is, I have to say, I listened to it once. Of course, I know the most popular songs or the most played songs, but I was actually kind of surprised by Prostitute, how cool song that could be or was. But at one stage, I started to like the album more, which is dangerous, so I finished it quickly. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, there are some good songs on it that I would like, and but it's definitely not an album I listen to in my free time.
And it sounds better with the rasp. Prostitute is probably in my top 5 favorite Guns N' Roses songs, because I think it's that good, and it's really the only song that I will listen to on Chinese Democracy. Like, I think I have it on a few playlists on Spotify, and that's the only song from the album.
When did you see Ear Doctor for the last time? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if I have, there are some songs I like. I think I like the title song the most, Chinese Democracy, for some reason. Not because it became a single, but I don't know. But I say I like it. I'd rather say I don't dislike it as much. I mean, it is what it is.
Also, another song that sounds pretty good. Better with the rasp, I would say, is the title track off the album for sure.
Yeah, you have to compare them, and it's not a great big release. It's just for fun, and I decided to put it out and make some artwork with it. And I think afterwards I've never listened to it myself because it's just not an album I would play.
So GNFNR.
Yeah, so GNFN and then A and then 3Rs.com. But if you Google it, you find it immediately.
So 3Rs.com. How many albums do you think you have up there, or albums? How many shows do you think you have up there right now? And I'm on the website. I'm cruising it right here, and it's pretty easy to get. It's very easy to navigate.
On the forum, there's sections, and I first started to share them with host link, but then those links would always disappear after a few days, and now I'm running torrents. But ever since I have the website, I started because back in the day, I remastered a lot of shows, but at one stage I stopped. So now I had the site, I could continue with that. So, and there's actually a few shows I also uploaded, like Oakland. I bought the master from the filmer directly, so it's already an upgrade in terms of gens. And I also remastered it. So, and that was on scene also. And Sacramento 93 is a show the same guy filmed. I bought it from him too. Was only available in second gen or first gen. Now both available in master. So these are actually new releases I bought and shared them for free, of course. And I also remastered some shows that were already out there, like Rio de Janeiro at the 2001 with the yellow coat one, I think, and Rock in Rio is another one. And I'm also working on some more stuff. But I have to dose it, because it takes a long time to do a good job. And often I work together with Appetite for Meows, who often does the audio, which I'm not so good at, so that's helpful too. And always looking for new projects and stuff. So
Speaking
and
of
the
new
torrents.
projects.
What?
Speaking of new projects.
Yes.
You and I are both big Slash fans.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What do you think of
definitely.
Orgy of the Damned now that it's out and you've had a chance to listen to it?
Well, I'm definitely a Slash fan, man, and I think I actually. When I heard about the album, I was like, cool, because it came out of nothing for me, actually. And I have to say, I've been to Slash twice, and I've been to his recent tour also quite recently. A few months back, they were playing in Amsterdam, and it was with Miles still, and they were still running the show with the old album, the old album, which was already old, but still new for some reason. And they played, of course, they had the cool thing was that they played Don't Damn Me or Bad Apples, which was fucking cool. And, but I have to say, I never really liked Miles' voice that much. I mean, it got better. And those songs he plays are not my favorite songs. It's not an album I listen to, but still to see Slash play, I mean, even if he plays like the simplest verse, I would go anyways, So I always love the guitar parts, and the same happens to this album. They're all songs that are covers, except for one, I think. But most of the songs I never heard or before, because I'm not a blues fan. I of course know most of the artists on it, and I especially do like this song with Beth Hart, because Beth Hart is an artist I knew and I love because it's a woman, and it's like she has such a big great voice. But in general, I do like it also more than the Slash albums with Miles Kennedy. But it's also like an album like I would not have in my regular playlist. So, and of course, the guitar parts are great and the singing too, but it doesn't excite me as much as GNR, but I'm just happy to see that Slash is working on stuff and trying new ways and doing new stuff. And
so the song with Beth Hart, it finishes the album. Well, it's before the only Slash written song on the album called Metal Chestnut, but Stormy Monday with Beth Hart is definitely a highlight of the album, as is the first track. I think the Pusher with Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes. That's such a good version of that song.
Definitely
it gets into Crossroads with Gary Clark Jr. Also, I enjoyed it.
Iggy Pop song is a bit
What's
I
that?
think the song with Iggy Pop is like a bit mediocre, I think.
So Hoochie Coochie Man with Billy Gibbons and Awful Dream with Iggy Pop. Both those guys sound really old on
Yeah, they are
the
fucking old, actually.
recordings. Like they sound like they're 100 years old. So I agree.
Iggy Pop, by the way,
Not
I mean, he is. I've seen him quite a few times on festivals where I was, and he should be dead like 10 years ago, man. I mean, and it's crazy how I'm not sure how old he is, but yeah, I think he's lucky to be still alive for some reason. He looks like really wore off, and yeah, he really used his organs and liver to the bone, I think. It's crazy.
What do you think of the Papa Was a Rolling Stone with Demi Moore,
Yeah,
Demi
that's
Lovato?
obviously that is a song that I knew best from being a cover, and it's the most well-known song for me. But yeah, it wouldn't be my choice actually. It's not that bad, but yeah. But I also understand that Slash did something on her album, and that's kind of how it works. Or no,
Sure.
actually, they met. I think they met at a. Oh no, that was with Beth Hart. They met at a drug addict program, I think.
Oh, did they?
That's yeah,
Well,
but
that
it
could
was
be
Demi
Demi
Lovato.
Lovato too, wasn't
Yeah.
she? Didn't she overdose or something?
I
Or
think
I
it was
don't know.
Demi Lovato how they met, and then she did something on her album, and yeah, vice versa.
I think that's one of the highlights of the album. I think it's probably
Yeah,
one of the
okay.
best songs on the album.
Because for me,
Um,
the Demi Lovato in where I live in Europe, she's a nobody, but she's totally not popular. We don't know her that much. Probably in USA she's very known. I don't know, but yeah,
cheers.
okay. So for me, that Bad Heart song is really great, and I like the album, but better than the Miles Kennedy work. But in general, it's not an album that I would play a lot. And
So you said that you saw Slash too.
yes.
You saw them in Amsterdam, and they played Bad Apples and Don't. They played both Bad
No,
Apples and
no, no,
Don't
no,
Damn
no,
Me.
no. No, he was known to be changing that song
Right.
every other night, and then he started also doing this other song. I quickly forgot what it was. Anyways, the fact that they skipped those songs or they changed those songs, yeah, it's really nice. They're like really unknown songs. I think that Don't Damn Me was never played live before even. And I also like the fact that it was not Miles Kennedy who sang it.
Todd Kern sings it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And my show they played Don't Damn Me, so no bad apples. And again, it was a great show. And Slash is just a beast, and it's totally different when he's on stage with his own band than with GNR. Because at GNR he sometimes looks a bit bored, and here's really like he's the star of the evening here. I mean, Miles Kennedy also takes a step back, or usually this singer is the most popular one, but. Yeah, it's really Slash show, and he can do his thing, and the guitars are great, and the audio was good. But the songs in general they played, they also played "Always on the Run" which is a nicer song, well-known song. But the Slash playing, you just see him playing. I mean, it doesn't matter what he plays; it's just a highlight every time. So
absolutely,
that's why I also went, and I saw them in 2019. I saw them also in Germany, also at Miles Kennedy show, which was also fucking great. I mean, he's just the beast.
Yeah, I've seen Slash and Miles quite a few times now. Every time they come through near me, I'll definitely go see them. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
But I think the last show that I saw was for the number 4 album. So a couple years ago now. He hasn't come anywhere close to me, and I don't even think he's coming for the rest of his tour up this way in my part of the world. So I'm going to miss him this time, which kind of sucks. But every time I've seen Slash and Miles, like they're really good. They're tight, and you can tell that they're just professionals at what they do, right? And they're just put on a really good show. And even Miles, I don't know, I don't mind Miles's singing. I think he's fine. His voice doesn't irritate me like a lot of other people, but
well,
it was interesting that Miles and or Axl wasn't involved in the Slash's album, which I thought was, well, I don't know if it's peculiar or if I'm just making things up.
No, you would expect it to have them host the song too, actually. Yeah, you could figure that out, but I'm not sure what the reason is, but I think there's nothing behind it. I have to say I saw them more than 2 times also. I saw them at one stage. I remember I went to, I think it was some metal fest, and then Slash and Miles Kennedy were there, and the next day GNR would be on that festival, but were not on speaking terms. So that was really weird, you know. So on Saturday there was, I think it was Metal Fest, no Hellfest in Belgium or something. So they played on Saturday and Axel was on Sunday there, but it was before the reunion was even announced. And of course, I also saw Slash with Velvet Revolver multiple times. But if it comes to Slash, I still like the Snake Pit stuff the most. Those songs, they sound, they come close to GNR.
How many
Maybe
times
I'm
did
an
you
old
see
fart.
Velvet Revolver?
I think I saw them at least 3 times, and I also saw them I saw the last show they performed in Amsterdam. I remember that was the last show. And that was also sort of special because the next day I think they fired or the tour was over and they kicked him out. And that was in Amsterdam.
I saw Velvet Revolver twice, and
Okay.
I've seen like Slash and his solo bands more than I've seen Guns N' Roses, GNR.
Okay. Well, I have to say I quite a veteran because I saw GNR now 20 times.
Oh, that's more than me. Wow.
Yeah, also during the CD era, and every time I said I'm not going anymore, but then when they came close, I just had to go. I don't know what it is.
To go.
Yeah, I just have to go. So I saw them 20 times, and also Slash maybe 5 times or 6, I'm not sure. And also, these other band members, Atlas Appetite was here. And I have to say, Duff is also coming to Netherlands. I don't have a ticket yet, but when it comes close, I probably go. Even though I don't like his album at all or his songs, I'm really not a fan.
His album that he did with Shooter, I want to say McGavin, but it's Shooter Jennings, called Tenderness. That album was, in my opinion, that album was absolutely terrible. But his latest one called Lighthouse, I actually don't mind this album. And there's some stuff he did with what was his band called? Loaded. There's some stuff he did with Loaded.
Yeah,
early on in Loaded, that was good.
Those songs are a bit better. But ever since I found out the story about how that went with Matt and Duff, and Matt not being included in the in the reunion, and how that went between them, ever since then I have not such positive feeling about Duff. Man,
I'm with you. That was the story that Matt Sorum put in his book. I was actually just reading about his book today. Double Talk and Jive, I believe, is the title of Matt Sorum's book, and he describes the meeting with Duff about basically him being included in the reunion, and he doesn't paint Duff him in a very nice picture. Duff comes out as, well, I think the word that was used once before was spineless, and that's how he came across, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, if I could say something about it, I mean, I'm not sure, of course, but I think there's almost the truth. Because, at one stage, because they were best friends, man. I mean, Duff and Matt, they played in so many bands. They were he was his best man on the wedding. So, and then at one stage, when Matt figured out he wasn't going to be part of it due to Axel, whatever, he just asked Duff one thing, and he said, man, I want to hear it from you before the rest of the world. If I'm not included, it doesn't matter. I just want to hear it from you as a friend, And then in the end, he wasn't included, and then Duff had Fernando call Matt to bring the news, which is like really horrible. I mean, it's
low, especially your best friends like that,
And I remember I had there was this photo where you see Duff with the book, How to Be a Man, and he holding this book, and I changed that picture. I photoshopped it and I said How to Be a Corn Shucker, and I tweeted it to Matt, and I bet he laughed his ass off. And but that's just horrible. I mean, a friendship gone by such stupid thing. I mean, what's the difficulty in calling him and saying that he's not here, man? He especially requested it with him. Yeah, it's horrible. So that made my image of Duff not the best one anymore. I have to say I did meet him, by the way, live in what was it again? In Prague. I was sitting there on the restaurant, right? And and the funny thing is, I made a picture, and the funny thing is I posted a picture, and everybody said, "Oh, the fuck, you're taller than Duff." Yes, I am. Funny.
All right, bud, we'll wrap it up. We've
sure, man. Been nice talking again.
Here well, absolutely. Come on the show anytime, and
Yeah,
It was
because we're doing
good
some
to
stuff
talk
with
to
the
you,
show. I'll fill in behind the scenes, helping with editing, and yeah, we did this nice song with a clip, and I might join every now and then when there's GNR news or something, but I won't be a regular. But yeah, that's what people figured.
And your website once again, that's TNFNALRR.
R as like a pirate.
Yeah. So
yeah, people can find it.
like a pirate. Perfect. That's a great name. Great site. Like I said,
It's still in
you have to
construction
look.
again. It will build
It's still
slowly,
in construction.
yeah.
But if you go on it too, it's going to ask you to register. So
For the forum, yes, the site is visitable without a password.
so have a register. Go in, talk some Guns N' Roses,
And download
talk
some new shit.
Slash. Yeah, talk everything,
If you collect
and
that.
find some good concerts there. It was really nice talking to you, friends, and we'll talk to you soon.
Same.
Okay, bud?
Yeah, man. Sure, man. See you.
All right. Well, that was a good interview that you did there with Frans Liarz. I think it's a lot of good information. And, folks, definitely go check out Fran's site. Go listen to his work. Go watch some of the remasters he's done and his releases of, Unwanted Illusions. Or
Illusions, yeah.
Use Your Illusions acoustic version. And he did the 86 Whisky show. And then he's got one of the Spain shows that he's remastered. So go check those out. Frans told you guys the site, and we'll write the site somewhere in the description, or either way, it'll be there. We'll timestamp this all out. We'll get you guys all that information. Instead of that, Liarz, I think it's about that time that we say goodnight to everybody and thank them for listening.
Yeah, Wasted. What do you got going on first? You still doing the Wasted show?
Yeah, I've got a few new episodes of the Wasted Show. One's about Florida Joker. One's about a Diddy assault. So there's two new episodes of that.
Didn't you have another thing about
Rumble.
Coppola stuff too?
Sorry?
About Francis Ford Coppola's new movie, Megalopolis? Didn't you have a video about that?
Megalopolis, yeah. Megalopolis. That goes with Florida Joker. That topic, yeah. And the island, Mygingo Island. It's kind of like it's a very small, almost like half a mile by half a mile of tin sheds that's kind of like floating in the ocean. And there's a whole kind of there's people living on there with bars and stuff. So I think that's how the world ends. We're all going to end up living on these small islands, waterworld style.
Wasted. Where can people find the Wasted Show?
It's on Rumble, and it's mostly on Rumble. Because I don't want to get the episodes banned on YouTube. But so some of the episodes are on YouTube. Some of the cooking videos are on YouTube.
Perfect. So look for me on mostly Rumble, The Wasted Show, some on YouTube. And you can find us on pretty much anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, and go from there. Thanks everybody that listens on those other platforms. I do get the numbers. And the numbers have went up recently, so it's always good to see on the other platforms other than YouTube, which is where you can mainly find us under my channel, Scratch Tracks Productions, and in there you will find this podcast and some others, but in particular this one, Sheeeit Radio. So give it a listen. Give it a hit like and subscribe. Thanks for listening today. Really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.